Hello, hello, friends. Welcome to another edition of our Profile Line Party series. And this week we continue the madness with our one and only juxtaposition profile. What? Yeah, these people are only 2% of the population. And to find a full house of guests for this profile is nothing short of spectacular. And everyone on here is going to have a jolly good time. So, without further ado, let's bring out our co host, Danny.
That was funny. A jolly good time indeed. They already
Right?
were backstage. They already were backstage.
I mean, yeah, they're just waiting for us to, you know,
Mhm.
stop rambling.
Ah,
They can come
that's so
on.
funny.
But just so everybody has a what's the word I'm looking for? An idea of what this profile is about, we like to let everybody know how this profile is very unique from the other profiles. So I always like to start with the house analogy. Danny, you explain it better than everybody. So go
Well,
ahead.
the house analogy is we've all been seeing this now. The first two lines are that foundation binary where the first guy is basically that is the foundation of the house. It's holding everything up. So you can see it's going out to work to do all the stuff. And then the second line is sort of just tra la la fancifully on the second floor. They don't always know what's going on, but they're still sort of self-absorbed. The third line is the mutative one going between, and it's sort of going up that spiral staircase on the right side. And then we get to this fourth line. That's the foundation of the second floor. And that's what we're focusing on here. So the first line being this, investigator that's introspective and a bit of a chameleon is now juxtaposed with the fourth line, who's the foundation of the second floor. And their job is to be sort of out in the world, basically networking and being friendly, and so these two lines are very interesting as they go together. And there's your house analogy. Fifth line is sort of behind the curtain upstairs, and the six lines on the roof, ready to go to the foundation of the next house.
hmm So, core traits. So they are born light spirited and unburdened, with a drive to persevere, or preserve, I should say, this lightness, right? And they are drawn to special fascinations to share. I think I was rambling to our 4-1 guest. I'm like, oh, yeah, I did a thesis on like shark finning laws. And it's like, well, that's a pretty random thing to be fascinated about. And I'm like, that's me. Fascinated by random things, and they need to balance their social time with independent investigation, right? That's their line one, needing to take their time and thoroughly study a thing that brings them joy. And they have a pretty organized mind that can sort complex subjects into very clear understanding. And they see life in a polarity. So they have their own very strong standards and their own strong truths. You can't really make them bend. That's not what they're here for.
The bending part has to be on their terms. There's no question. And this fascination with sharing, I love it because these are two foundation lines. As they start to break down that foundation, all their collective gates are become, objects of great sharing. It's amazing.
Perfect. Do you want to take this one, Danny?
I never want to take them. Learning and authority. Um, encouraged to hope in and on passion and become basically obsessed with them. So there is an obsession factor with that for one profile, and if it's the right one, then it transforms them. It transforms inherent insecurity into basically an authority, becoming an expert in a chosen field. That's every 4-1's good friend, actually, their expertise. Communicates knowledge effectively due to a natural ability. That natural ability is after they've been educated and they've learned. Otherwise, they're not explaining or teaching anything. Um, and that's, again, appropriate for them. The role is to network, and it's acting as a bridge, this juxtaposition profile. It's a bridge the gaps between the right angle and the left angle, the personal destiny and the transpersonal karma of these profiles. If you think about it, they're a little bit of each. They can be in either camp. So you look at them like the in-between water carrier, carry from here to over to there, from here back to here. They're always allowing a knuckle by which carries the energy from the two ends. Life aligns perfectly with purpose and fate when living through their own strategy and authority. That's something we put on every single slide. And that strategy and authority is your way. We'll go over that. We've gone over that already, but that's the learning
Right? Bears repeating. So, challenges and empowerment. Okay, so they are encouraged not to just fit in with the crowd, but to stand out. Life is constant education, learning that everyone sees the world in black or white, and then being in the middle, they see all the colors in between. They maintain balance and health by having others adapt to them, not vice versa. Like I mentioned, they're here to be very rigid and very fixed. So they're the only fixed fate profile. So everyone else is supposed to kind of be accommodating to their rigidness. And they need a trusted circle of close friends who will provide unconditional loving support for that stubborn rigidness that they are. And education and solid, secure home life are very important for a 4-1 child. So these line 1 and the line 4 are foundational lines. So foundation of education and again, structure of a home is super important for them. Anything to add, Danny?
Well, that maintaining balance and this constant education and learning, it is just so important to this 4-1 profile. And while there is a certain rigidness, it is there, but it's within the flexibility of the fact that they have every other line in the of the 6 lines represented in all their other gates somewhere. That fixedness isn't designed to bend on the things that become important to them, but I could see how they would be highly adaptive to things that don't matter,
Right.
potentially. So.
The the line for abdicating.
Yep, and fine, and it's actually fine for them. It's good for us too. I'm a 4th line, yeah.
All right,
Deeply
take it
this
away.
conclusion, deeply interested in human behavior. That's right. They're looking out at everything and wondering where's gonna be their opportunity. Loyal and generous friends that cannot be in relationships with where there's a lack of a trust, and that trust is really deep-seated. It's supposed to be. They'll politely nod their head in disagreement while holding on to their own truths deep inside. You gotta get along with that one. That's actually supposed to be fine. Um, their mind can only be changed when their ideas are substantiated with good, solid facts, and subsequently, they're the only ones that can really change them. Don't plan on swooping in with the giant epiphany for the 4th line like you could for a 3rd line potentially, you know? Let's see, they are unique individuals who are meant to follow their own specific line of geometry because it is so unique. The reason they call it a fixed fate is because it is neither this nor that. And you can only really live out a 4-1 when you start recognizing there's this aspect that is neither this nor that, because the other profiles are so different.
Right. What Danny means by that is so we just finished all the profiles that are the personal destiny profiles. And then right after the 4-1, next week we get into the 5-1s, and they're the transpersonal profiles. So the
This is
4-1s are the only ones that isn't personal
people.
or
Yep.
transpersonal. We're like just wedged in the middle.
If you were to look at 3 lines on a paper, their line would be the line going straight through the middle of the paper, while the other ones would have their versions of a squiggle as you move through time. Yep.
Perfect. So we did that in exactly 10 minutes, like I promised. So
Oh,
now we get to introduce our lovely guests. We're going to start off with our 4-1 projector guest. Let's welcome Danica.
Hello, thank you for
how
having
are
me.
you?
I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
We are super excited to have you here. So, what would you like to tell everyone about yourself?
Well, I am now currently directing my first full-length feature documentary about the anime and the manga Akira, but mainly more about the story of bringing Akira to America, and I'm very excited about that. But I come from a background of YouTube. I started a YouTube channel in 2012, the Comic Book Girl Named Teen Show, and yeah, but this is kind of the point where I'm jumping out of the nest and trying something a little bigger, a little newer, and yeah, so excited to be here.
Excellent.
Danica, I love it, and I love a library in the background. Everyone's got to have one. It's just such a rich, rewarding thing, isn't it?
Oh, it's the best. I have a huge, even like way more books like in my
Mhm.
stairwell. It's crazy.
No,
These are just
indeed.
like my nicer ones. My
Well, it's awesome
best.
to meet you, and I can't thank you enough for being here. This is amazing. Hopefully, we can connect offline. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Amazing. So now we bring on one of our sacral friends, our MG, Daria. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hola, Dar.
Happy to be here as well. Um, to tell you something about myself. Okay. I'm basically created a mix between alchemy and human design, and that's what I'm working with. That's what I'm coaching with. That's what I'm doing, and I'm helping people radically self-accept themselves, because that has been such a big journey for me, to radical self-acceptance, especially as a 4-1 profile. You don't have a choice but to radically self-accept who you are.
Good
Right.
point.
And
Killer point.
yeah, I'm helping people get to that through alchemy and human design.
That's very cool. We're going to have to chat some more about that. Maybe you can come
Yep.
on our deconditioning series. All right. And now we're going to bring on our another non-sacral friend, our manifestor guest. Hello.
Hello. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. This is great. When you see
Did-
this film, yeah, Philip, it's going to be so good when we see this air.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
totally.
What would you like the world to know about your urges, fellow
Oh,
manifestor?
yeah, I love that question. Let's see. I feel like my urges change. It's a bit about, fulfilling the mission and moving on. So currently, my mission is partially some collective work, but then mainly educating on human design, astrology, shamanic work, kind of a mix of all of those. Yeah, and constantly evolving in ways that I don't even understand. So just following the wave.
Right. That
Do.
checks out for being an emo manny.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
totally.
this whole profile line party was an urge. I looked at Danny, I'm like, I just want to get every energy type and every profile line together. And he looked at me, he's like, why?
I love that.
And I'm like, I don't know. I think I just have to do it. And here you all are from the urge.
Try to imagine it. She throws this on me, and there I am having no idea it's coming at me. And I got the serious hit that's like, oh, I'm required to almost appear as if I'm in the mood for that right now, and I'm not. That's crazy. What are we going to do? And so it's the most amazing experience. It was perfect. And she
Yeah.
did it.
Well,
She did.
we haven't made it to the finish line yet, but we're chugging along. We're chugging along. All right, let's bring on our last non-sacral, our reflector.
Hello. Hi.
Let us know how to say your name properly, because I am scared I will butcher it.
All right.
Laitia.
No.
Ah.
No. It is Letitia.
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 Oh,
Perfect.
God. You should have figured that out technically.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Letitia. It's like the French spelling or something like that. I'm not
Okay.
French though. Yeah, so what
Tell
was
us
the
where you're
question?
signing on from, because
So
we are so grateful that you are awake at this hour.
yeah, it's almost 3 a.m. where I'm at. I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. There's no human design community that I know of. So if you are in Cape Town and you're watching this, please
Oh,
contact me.
we have to talk
Please.
offline. Yeah. We gotta get
So
that rolling.
yeah, so the human design community that I engage with is like Facebook mostly. But nobody around me is interested or cares.
They all
which is
kind of look at you
fine.
as like, oh, it's like an astrology thing, and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. But I've kind of given up on trying to convince anybody of anything, really. I benefit from the knowledge, so that's enough for me. And, there's this like idea of helping one person at the time. Like, I don't necessarily feel like I need human design as a conduit for helping somebody else. I don't feel like that is something that I necessarily want to do. But if I can help a friend feel accepted, loved by me, then what else can I ask for, you know?
Amazing.
So with regards to me, I'm not really doing much right now. I am I am a contract English teacher who can work whenever she feels like it. So I barely do. But I do teach English a few times a week. And then I have a creative project on Instagram where I share my poetry. And I'm also compiling my first poetry collection that I would like to self-publish before the end of the year. So that's about it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And last but definitely not least, our pinch hitter last minute guest to represent the Pure Generators, Brandon. Hello.
Brandon
How's it
Boss,
going?
thanks for filling in, bro.
You're welcome.
That's how it goes.
What's that?
I said, that's how it goes. Tell us a little bit about like where are you hailing from?
I'm from New York. I live in Buffalo. Actually, I'm from a lot of places, but I live in Buffalo now, just
I'm in
outside of Buffalo, New York.
Western Mass, not far from Lee.
And well, I mean, my juxtaposition is beginnings,
Oh,
and I usually find myself starting something and getting to the point where I get really good at it, and then I'll drop it and move on to something else. So it's like after high school, I was working at like doing cooking at Denny's, but then like from there, I've always worked with music. That's what I've always done. Write songs, write music, and I always keep putting it on the back burner, never finishing it out. And I'm gonna give it a go this time. That's what I plan on doing.
I love it, dude. You got to follow that music, especially while you can. I did it for a living for a while. I just I had to get off the train at one point, but I love that.
thank you so much for sharing. So now that we have acquainted ourselves with all our lovely guests, it's time to play Tag Danny with our lovely
Moni?
third co-host, Moni, to play some bingo. So I forgot to ask you all, have your bingo cards, right? Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. All right. So tag team out.
See you guys in a bit.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hey, Moni.
Hello.
Nice to see you all again.
You
All right,
too.
we're all ready for some bingo?
Mhm.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. So the first one we have up is Light Spirited.
Light spirited. Where is a light spirited?
Next one follows under a similar theme. Preserve your lightness.
I know, it's so tough too. It's like you really got to preserve that shit, and it's like so crazy out there. There we go.
Totally.
It's heavy out there.
Heavy. It's heavy.
Obsess over passions.
Yes.
Kept trying to
Yeah.
say it. I hope you
Yeah.
guys all got excited about that one.
Yeah. I know.
I thought it was just my hyperfixation.
Same.
I mean, it suits you, with the 4-1. It just, you guys are like foundation on foundation, so it makes sense to be like hyper into it.
Yeah.
Next up, we have filter out external noise.
That's so funny because I just like bought some little little things I can pop in just if like people are too loud, and I
Mhm.
don't want to totally not hear them, but
Mhm.
like it's just like shit's too loud all the time.
Like the flare audio or the loops or whatever.
hmm
Those are great.
Yeah, the loops. Yeah, it's the loops. Yeah.
Nice. I've heard of those. I've used the Flare audio, but I've heard good things about the loops.
Yeah, they're good. And they look cute. And they have like a little cutie design.
Right? Wonderful. People will find you.
Mhm.
It's really nice when people find you and you're a manifestor and they get through that aura. I'm like, oh, thank you, welcome.
Oh. It's so funny because like manifestors from the outside will feel like such a wall to get
Yeah,
through. But
I
every
bet.
manifestor I meet is like a little hermit crab with this like shell, but they're like, please love me. I'm all squishy on the inside.
Oh, yeah, that's so accurate. I feel seen. Thank you.
Oh, no. Next up, we have organized mind. There we have.
In the most chaotic way, I guess.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't know about this one.
Doesn't really feel that way.
Yeah,
It
absolutely not.
doesn't.
It's so funny. I love it because it was kind of silence. I was like, okay, I'll just move to the next one. Then all of you guys are like, I don't know. It's all real hectic up there.
It is.
Maybe it's the
I mean, maybe
desire.
if you look
Yeah.
at it at like a very from a broad angle, maybe it
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
organized, but
Yeah.
while it's happening,
No, mine's scattered.
Yeah.
Or
I
is
can't
it,
even
perhaps is
say
it like a
it.
desire to have it organized?
Yeah, I wish it was.
Probably.
Yes.
all the
Okay.
time.
Life would be a lot
but
more
Yeah.
easier, I'll tell you that.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't
'cause-
experience it as being organized. But if I were to go and retrieve something,
You know
I can
exactly where
find
it
it
is.
sometimes. Well, actually, yes, it is. I know exactly where I want to go, but it just while I'm experiencing it, it feels very
Scattered.
chaotic and
Mhm.
yeah.
Perhaps it's that process of the chaos into the organization that is part of
Yeah.
your role, is to take it from the
Yeah.
chaos to organize it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Mm.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
really-
like
oh, I
like making like YouTube videos. It's like, oh, there's a movie that I'm obsessed with, and I'll watch it, and I'll really think about it, and I'm like, I don't know at first what I think about it, and it really, I got to make a video, so it's like, oh, I got to really sit down, I have to type it out, and then I have to act it out, and then I have to edit it, and then it's like, okay, I've organized it, like I got it, but it takes
Okay,
all
yeah.
of that to get there.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
really cool.
totally.
Oh, that's really relatable.
That was really neat to like sort through with y'all. Thanks for that. Okay, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
more about the desire to and the process of taking from the chaos into the order, which is part of the role of the 4-1.
Yeah,
Yeah. Personally, it feels a lot more like an organized timeline, but then getting to each checkpoint is super disorganized. But then if you
Yes.
like look back, you sort of like
Yes.
zoom out and you're like, whoa, that's like, super
Yeah.
intelligently organized. And it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, I wish it felt that way in the moment, but I guess.
that's real. Yeah.
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 Perfect. All right, next up we have see polarity clearly.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Sometimes I feel like I see things and people around me like just have no idea. And I'm like, wait, don't you see this? And they're just like walking around like, see what? And I'm like,
Yeah.
this very
Yes.
obvious thing. And they're like, what are you talking? I'm like, I don't know. Just, it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
The way that I experience this very often is where I'm usually in the middle, and then there's these two people who are disagreeing, and then they turn towards me and they're like, okay, so which side do you choose? And I'm like, I can
And
see
you
how you
can't
make
choose.
sense, and I can see how you make sense. There's no
Mm.
choosing happening here. I understand both sides, and therefore I shall not choose a side.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
almost like a
Love that.
scales of justice. I was kind of saying like the
Yeah.
justice lady.
Yeah.
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 That's interesting.
And
Especially as like
sometimes it's like they don't understand. Like one party will maybe not get the fact that I understand both sides, and so
They'll think you're with the other side, maybe.
Yeah.
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 exactly.
100%.
Or they get
you.
offended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Well, it's like
worries.
if you're not
And I'm
with
like-
me, you're against me. So
Yeah.
How can you
Right.
see their side?
Exactly. Yeah.
How couldn't you?
yeah.
I feel like that rolls up perfectly into the next one, which is trust your own standards.
Woo. This is a lifelong journey.
Oh,
Yeah. it's like a step ladder. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you're here, and then like, no, you know what? Actually, I actually feel this way. Actually, maybe I feel this way, but that's also the emotional wave. So this may not sort of like match with
Yeah.
everyone's experience.
Also, like that 4-1 is
I
like that foundation to foundation, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
So because it takes me such a long time to make a decision or just make up my mind about something in general, like I have kind of given myself a little bit more mercy because
I like
there are
it.
times when I'll convince myself of something and share that with the other, and then tomorrow when I wake up, I'm like, actually, this thing that I agreed, or this point that I agreed on, actually
Well, you
didn't
have
see
that
it that way.
lunar. You have to wait till
Lunar
the
cycles, yeah.
cycle. Yeah, that's like insane to like wait for
Yeah.
everything. I'm sure it's just for big decisions, but still, it's
Yeah.
good to know that, you know, offer yourself grace in that moment.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So next up, we have use heart and passion.
Hmm.
Anyone want
As
to
a
go for
cross
this
of
one?
commitment, I think this is for me a bit exaggerated. So I'm a juxtaposition of commitment. So for me, everything in my life is I'm doing this for the rest of my life, or I'm never doing this again. Like completely heartfelt, but full in. Either full in forever or full in never again. It's completely black or
Ooh.
white cut out.
I can relate to that. The sort of like all in, like no matter what you're doing, you're all in on it. But I feel like that's just kind of our setting for how we enjoy this life, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what setting do you want to be on? I want to be on 100. I want to experience everything, you know?
But I find that oftentimes with certain people, I think my passion scares them a little bit. Like, and
I can relate to that.
and it's like there's a kind of, okay, maybe it's perceived as like this all or nothing, you know, that
Yes.
and it scares them because
Yes.
they maybe do not feel the same amount of gravity.
Right.
But it's just that like you said, I enjoy feeling passionate, so I'm going to embrace it regardless of the outcome. Like, if I get hurt, I get hurt. It's a lesson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for
But
you.
in that
You know,
moment,
that's awesome.
in
That
that
is-
moment, I want to experience what I'm experiencing. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the
Totally.
one thing that with like my YouTube channel and why it took off was just because it was like heart and passion. It was like I'm talking
Yeah.
about things that I'm passionate about, and people
Yeah.
noticed that and saw that, and then
Yeah.
it compounded and became this kind of snowball that got bigger and bigger because I think that there is a lot of inauthenticity on the internet, and you know, and yeah, that people really do respond to that, and I've utilized that to like build this YouTube channel, and which has led up to this, you know, documentary, which is another thing I'm passionate about. You know, it's like, oh, I'm doing a whole documentary about something I'm passionate about. And I'm really good at getting other people to feel that passion and be like, oh, this is really right. Oh, she's right. Or they're not, and they argue with me, and it's fine. You know, like it's, you know, it's we can debate. It's totally cool.
I love that you've received that recognition for your passion. That's really, really crucial, I feel like.
It's been really helpful for me, yeah, because before that it was a lot tougher.
I can imagine.
Cool. All right. Next up, we have mental exhaustion.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like we all
Hell
made a
yeah.
sound on that one.
Dude, so fucking tired. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I feel like no, go ahead, please.
Oh, I feel so drawn to like Eastern esotericism lately, because it's just the whole like stop thinking, like become a vessel, like, and it's so hard, you know, and it sounds so good. It sounds like, oh, what a dream, you know.
It's also a human design thing, you know. I don't know if, you know, too many people have dove deep into human design to this level, but I know once you get to a certain point, it's just like no mind, you know? And I'm like, wow, that is so refreshing. It's so like, it's
Um,
like the ease of just following the body's urges, but also
mm,
strategy and authority. It's like, yes. But,
so
takes years to get there. But.
so I've always been fascinated and obsessed with meditation, and I could
Yes.
never do it properly. Or my idea of it was obviously distorted, right? It's not, for me personally, I've never really truly experienced the absence of thought, but I have gotten into a state where I'm able to observe it and not be attached
Interact.
to it. So it just kind of goes like subtitles, on a screen. But because of the initial like misunderstanding of what meditation is, I was constantly berating myself for not doing it properly, which ultimately led to mental exhaustion because I was trying so hard to stop the thoughts and just
Be
have nothing and emptiness. So I don't know if it is possible. I just have not experienced that.
For me, it's music does that. I can shut down my brain while
Same.
listening to music, and I'm
Wow.
Me too.
dancing, and I allow my body to move, and my mind
Yeah.
takes a back seat. And when I
Wow.
feel my mind is overcrowded, that's what I do. I'll just play music really loud and let my mind sit back.
I like that.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Wow, I like that a
Curious
lot.
question for everybody. Just curious question. Do you have an inner voice? Because I know there was like a study a few years ago where it's like, do you have an inner voice, inner dialogue or not? I'm just
Yeah.
curious if this is a 4-1 thing.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
have
I've got
one.
I don't
Yeah.
hear anything. Like I don't like in my head. I have thoughts with myself, and I can have conversations with myself, or like I call it little meetings. I have meetings with myself.
I like that.
But it's not like I
Yeah.
have like people say like, oh, I hear this voice telling me something, or like this voice in my head is, and I'm like, I don't have that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for that.
But I
Wow.
also don't like, I can't so far, and I'd like to learn maybe how to do this. I don't think it's impossible, but if I, close my eyes and someone's like, picture a rainbow, picture a heart, I don't
Mhm.
see shit. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't,
Wow.
Yeah,
I
That
can,
is so
I
fascinating.
intellectually I know what it is. I
Mhm.
can draw
Right.
it. I can do,
Yeah.
but it's like I just don't
I'm the
have that
same
ability
way.
unlocked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing. That's a thing. Some people
Yeah.
just don't see, they feel, or hear, or just have different sort of experiences of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it makes
Well, if I
sense.
hit a trance state, like I can, like the images come. If it's like, and if I'm dreaming,
Nice.
like I have very like cinematic dreams, they're very realistic. But it's like if I'm conscious in like I don't know if it's alpha state or whatever the brainwave state
Mhm.
is, it's like I haven't been able to access it yet.
Cool.
Theta
Fascinating.
brainwave state.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go a day without meditation. I have to. But, I can't make it a day without it. It's so important to me.
What kind of meditation do you do?
Transcendental.
Nice.
Yeah. And I
That's
think I
awesome.
meditate when I play the guitar and sing.
Oh, of
I go to
course. Yeah.
places, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a flow state.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, the flow state. Oh,
Mhm.
what
All right.
a dragon to chase.
Next
It
up,
can be, yeah. It
next
can
up,
be.
we have spread infectious ideas.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
read
me
that.
all over.
I read that
Same.
wrong. I was like, what? What am
Oh,
I
gosh.
spreading? Jeez.
That's so funny.
Not on
We
this
like
show.
more feedback. Yeah.
But it's
After-
really weird when you're not with your geometry and you try to spread your infectious ideas and you're all hyped up in your passionate ways, and the other go, what are you talking about? And
Nobody
then you
wants
have
to hear
to yeah, nobody wants to
it's
hear
not
it.
landing
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I feel like that's something when, especially when you have like projected channels, it's like you need that recognition. Otherwise, you just get shut down. So
Yeah.
It's a tough one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, we have be highly individual.
I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
answer.
Oh my gosh, I actually got bingo. Sorry.
Aw.
It's okay.
Yeah.
There's more chatting to come.
I got bingo. Sorry, guys.
I actually like forgot that we were playing bingo. I was like, "Ooh, I like this chat."
I'm too competitive to forget. I was like, I'm
I got
gonna
my-
win this. So
I love it. It's
Well,
great.
you did it, Reflector. You made it happen. You won. That was
Surprise.
super fun. Thank you all. That was really great. You guys were so like fun and friendly and chatty and sharing all sorts of like good stories. Like very fun.
Yeah,
Thanks.
this was awesome. This is really, I mean, it's
Yeah.
really interesting to like speak with other 4-1s. Like you said, it's such a not many people are 4-1s, and
Yeah.
it's just like, oh wow, like it's not just me, you know, like you think it's just you, and then you talk to other people, like, oh fuck, like it's really interesting.
Great. Thank you all. That was super, super fun for me. And thank you for letting me learn about you and hang out in your little group of 4-1s.
Aw,
Thanks,
You're
Moni.
welcome.
Thank you.
yeah.
That's such a sweet sign. I love that symbol. And by the way, another reflector bingo. Another
Oh,
bingo.
yay.
Yeah, no. So for some
Yay!
reason, inordinate
We're the
amount
best
of
type.
yeah, you guys seem to have gotten bingo now, and since we've been doing this, this will be the 8th profile because we've been through the first 7 already. But so we're going to bring up some questions. And
Representing.
question number 1. So basically, so I'm just going to ask this, maybe fill in a little bit here, and then Moana will pull me off screen. So how do you guys experience this interesting juxtaposition you have of, on one hand, the socially open person, the friendly 4th line, and on the other hand, this unconscious introvert, you know, that has their insecurity before they become their authority. So these two things are at odds. If you just threw them up in the air, they're at odds with each other in many senses. And obviously, but they're not, because they live within you. So how do you guys experience that? What's that like, if you can speak to it in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that I'm like an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert. Like, I don't feel like I'm one or the other. I'm both. I feel like that with a lot of things. And but it's important to like, I know that it's important to have time with friends and talking with people and discussing. And it's also really important to just have my alone time and chill the fuck out and be by myself.
Totally.
It
I
either
can
comes in phases. So I have phases where I'll be completely alone in my studies, in my things, and then it comes into a network phase where I can't be alone. I'm always with people. But I think as a 4-1, I've also have a ability that it seems weird. I can be completely alone in a group of people. I can totally sign off. Can you guys do this? Like
Yeah.
be around a group of people and be
Yeah.
completely alone.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Totally. I feel like I relate so much to what you were both just saying. And I usually call myself an ambivert. I actually grew up with a 1-4.
Same.
And so they would always sort of be like, hey, spend some time by yourself. And I'm like, no, I want to be with the people. And so I realized to kind of, you know, just lean in more to that with that, or, you know, just kind of lean into it in a way where I don't feel guilty anymore about being around people, because they would be, you know, the argument was always like, oh, you're wasting your time. I'm like, no, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I always joke around that I have 2 modes, you know, kind of like on my phone I have focus groups, and it's like when I'm in sort of like a creative urge, you know, as a manifester, it's the 4. I'm like networking, going out, like talking to people, spreading the word. And then once I'm in my rest cycle, I'm like on my phone, like researching and reading. So it's a very clear cut sort of, you know, energetic separation between the 4 and the 1, very much like within the body. So it's a very, very interesting question that I feel like I've been wanting to sort of talk about for a long time, but I'm really glad that it was actually asked.
Oh, I went away in my head a little bit, but I was still listening. What was coming up for me was that I was thinking about, like you said, Daria, the phases. I can 100% relate to that. But it started with me feeling incredibly insecure about just being social in general because I was an only child, my mom's only child, and I didn't really have a lot of people like my age around me. So when I first got to school, I was very insecure about just being normal. I was incredibly socially anxious, and as a result of kind of overcompensating, I had all these masks that I would wear, right? And all those masks attracted all these different people. And
Yeah.
before I knew it, I had so many people that I could just, be different people around. And it got to a point where I just, it became too exhausting for me to maintain all those relationships. And so I, went into,
Hermit mode.
I guess, a little bit of a hermit. Yeah. And
I
it
relate.
was kind of, it was actually very traumatizing because I had spent so much time manufacturing who I was that I had lost a sense of who I
Who you
really
were.
was,
Yeah.
whatever. And so to be alone was scary. And I didn't enjoy my own company for a very, very long time, which
I can relate
led
to
me
that.
to human design because I was, self-destructive, doing a lot of things that was not good for me. And then eventually I was forced into being alone. And through that aloneness, I was able to build a foundation of who I think I am or whatever. It was a little bit more stable. I learned to trust myself. I learned to love myself. And now I am only really social when my network provides me with an opportunity to be.
Nice.
But I don't, but I used to be a little bit of like a party animal, never at home. And now I'm at home all the time unless there's something interesting or fun for me to do that I actually want to do. That's the important thing as well. But yeah, that's my experience of balancing the two.
I
Comes in
have a
phases.
question for you all related to this, related to her story. What's your experience with normal? I've never perceived myself as normal,
No,
and
never.
I've
Absolutely
never
not.
fit in a specific group. Like she said,
No.
she
Yeah.
had many groups. I could
No.
relate with many of them, but not
Yeah.
Same.
fully with any.
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
call it being the interloper. You know, it's
I
just
like
like a
that.
the walker between worlds is
Yeah.
is
That's
how I
awesome.
Yeah.
define it.
That's it.
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
like that. I like that interloper concept. Yeah.
I think it's,
Brandon?
I think it was also by shifting through these different groups of people and not being there for too long. I think it was because another reason is because I was afraid for them to know who I was,
Yes.
Mm.
you know,
Mm,
or even to find out who I was. That, it's hard to figure that out when you're younger,
yeah.
trying to you're seeing the world in these groups, and then you keep bouncing around groups and you don't know. Yeah, I totally get what she's saying. Wow.
Yeah.
Me too.
I understand.
Yeah.
I resonate with you. I think
Yeah.
I
it's
had the same exact experience actually.
Same.
yeah. See,
Yeah.
it's just
And I think it's really interesting that you're all bringing up this element of fear because like the one is like the fear line, right?
Yes.
Like not
Oh,
having
yeah.
enough information. So it's very interesting that that should sort of come up naturally within the story.
Yeah. I feel like the beginning stages of my life, I was looking, I was like, why is there not a how to? Because there's no
Mm,
how to, so I don't know
yeah,
what to do, right? So then,
same.
even when I was with people like you, Daria mentioned being alone in a group. Me being alone in a group was me observing them so that I
Mm.
could mimic.
yeah.
So
You're
that
like,
I
what's
could
Yeah.
mimic,
working? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I never could do that. So I can't
yeah, me
mimic
neither,
other
but I
people.
was definitely convincing myself that I was able to. I was
Well,
the
maybe that's also
Lulu.
part of the reflector energy as well. I mean, it's not
Yes.
just the 4-1, it's also the reflector.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Totally. That
Yeah.
mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving on to the next one. That was like brilliant. You guys really stayed on point and hit all the things. So a couple more to do these. I love watching it. I'm sitting back. I almost wasn't ready to talk, guys. It came out. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I was in the little dream state you were in when you were like, oh, I was my own little.
I love it.
So you guys experienced this quality of life of being dependent upon the quality of your network. Like as the network breaks down, even a little bit, quality of life shifts. Might not get worse. I don't know. You guys are going to tell us, but we're really just speaking mostly to this fourth line and the quality of the network and the network providing the opportunities, like you had said, just waiting for my network to provide. So just your experience with how the better that is, the better you find more things you feel like looking into, and maybe the more you can't quite tell, the more lost you might feel. Maybe you could speak to that.
I don't know
Sure.
about you guys, but my network shifts. My network shifts
Me too.
apparently according to my needs. So when I'm looking for something, like it's really, really weird. For example, now that I'm working with human design, I want to know more about the channel, and I suddenly meet a lot of people with that specific channel. My network literally shifts according to something that I'm passionate about, something I want to find out about. And I experience it the other way around. So the network shifts, not I shift.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's kind of I can relate to that, but I feel like it is I have a network, but they are different people for different things. So let's say that I have a need, very specific need. I know exactly who in my network I can go to and approach to help me, right? So it's like, yeah, it feels like there are multiple networks, but actually the way that I perceive it is just one network, but individuals who have the means to provide me with what I need. And so I'm actually a cross of needs. So there's a lot of needs and wants and things that I experience because of my network and their wants and needs. But I feel like it balances out in a way because whatever I need just potentially benefits both myself and the person in my network.
Yeah,
Totally.
that's
I feel
important.
that.
But it's almost like Frankenstein's monster, like a network. It's like you're building, like I need the arms from this person and the head from that person and the legs from this
100%.
thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great analogy. I love your analogy.
I have another question. Do you have harder time transferring things for money than you have it for services? Like I never had to pay for many things in my life. Like I get things trading services.
It always
Me
comes.
too.
Yeah, it's never been hard. Everything always comes to you for some reason. It's weird.
Yes.
My wife says this. It's like everything always comes to you.
Yeah.
Nice.
How does that work? It's like I don't know.
Well, I feel like the generator aura especially, right? Because it's like you just say what you want and it just comes to you.
It's weird.
That's like a really cool feature. I love that.
Yeah. It's also about being honest, right? So for a very long time I was completely isolating myself from my network. I wasn't telling them what I wanted or what I needed at all because I was like, I'm this independent person and I can do everything on my own and I don't need anybody. But I suffered because of it, right?
Yeah.
So you need to kind of be in tune with yourself, right? And then you can express that to your network, and then they will bring you the opportunities because they're aware of it. They're aware that you're in need or whatever.
Well, I've always
Totally.
felt like, I don't know, I always meet people where they're at, and I can only
Yes.
meet them where they're at, and that's not
Yeah.
everything for me. Like, it's very rare for me to meet somebody who has like all the things. So that's what the
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster is. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
if I want to talk about spiritual stuff, I go to this person. If I want to talk
Yes.
about business, I go to this person. And
Totally.
it's very rare that I can find anyone that I can talk about
Right.
all the things with.
Yeah.
That gets into it as much as deep as you have, right?
Yeah.
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 It's hard
Yeah.
to find
Yeah.
those people. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that.
And you just have to
Totally.
stay with them kind of on their
Because otherwise,
meet
they're not
them
going to
where-
listen to you.
Wavelength.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
they're just going to be like, I heard what you said in the beginning, and then I just, what?
Signed off.
Then you got
Yeah.
to explain it to them, and then the whole time you're explaining it to them, they zone out. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Well,
Not being
they're
heard.
right. And they're not ready for it, you know. They
Right,
haven't
that too. That too.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Totally. And I feel like I have maybe not necessarily a problem, but maybe some qualms with the way the question was asked, just because what do you mean by quality, right? Like how are we determining the quality of the network? Because I feel like, just kind of like Letitia, you mentioned, I feel like there's almost like a representative in each network that is there to sort of like almost like connect with us, right? Because I feel, at least personally, as a manifestor, I've dropped bombs in these like communities, right? Like I'll go into a community, I drop a bomb, see how people feel about it, and then I jet, so it's a matter of kind of like having one person, like a representative, because usually for me, at least personally, it's not something that I can kind of go back to and act as if, everything is okay, because I have this sort of like gate 51 of shock, right? Shocking somebody for their highest evolution. But people don't take to that very, well, obviously. People get triggered by it. And so I can totally relate to what you were saying, Brandon and Danica, because there's very much this element that people aren't ready for something. And I feel like personally, even though I do have access to so many different networks, it's a matter of kind of going from one to another. Like you mentioned, Daria, it's just kind of like, okay, what do I need now? Where am I going? And it's not always like linear. It's kind of like, okay, we're going here, and then it's like depending on what you need, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing about like having an audience online and like building this community and this audience of like all these, thousands of people around the world. And that's one thing, like as a 4-1, I think about where it's like, oh, I'm connecting all these people who would never have connections with one another.
Yes.
Like I'm
I
like a
love
hub
that.
for them.
Yeah.
And
Do you guys have this thing where, so you have one friend over here and you have another friend over there, they do not know each other, but you just know that they're gonna get along really, really well, right?
For sure.
It's just like, because I know this person, and then I know, like, I can kind of fit them together like puzzle pieces in a way. And it's just like really weird to me sometimes. Like I'll meet somebody new and I'll be like, oh my word, this person will get along so well with Layla.
I love that. That's literally how I am too. And this is why when I said I drop bombs, sometimes I'll literally connect people within the community and then leave, and then they become friends, and like, and I'm no longer in contact.
Yeah. Same.
I love that.
I saw two people that I don't speak to them anymore, but I introduced them to each other.
Same.
And they're having a wild time. I'm like, good for you.
I'm happy for you guys.
Wow, that's intense. What I'm sensing is that there's an innate mastery of the network, probably some form of innate foundation to the network, such that the network isn't the concern. And that Layla,
Layla, it's correct. You're right.
You have a 60s father, I think, because you said the word jet and then I jet. And so
that's so funny. No, it's just a past life of mine.
All right. Wow, yeah. Like it's just you guys have some kind of foundational naturalness with the network generally, and just the others, and this friendship zone that that it's not a concern to you. Because I mean, me, I'm tending my network and I don't have that same sense as you. As a 2-4 and I'm watching it. So you're right. The question wouldn't have necessarily had all the right components. I don't even still know how to fashion the question now that I think of it, but I'm watching you guys. There's an innate mastery of the network, just as a keynoted phrase, to flesh out from there. So
Because
Cool.
the quality, right? It's like, are we talking about money or are we talking about something even more maybe like human, right? I think that's the
How about 100 other things you could label? There's an innate mastery. I don't even know that I would care to parse out any further at this moment. I just like watching what came out of you guys. So next question. I would love to hear everyone's interpretation of being on the train track
Ooh.
and how this goes up in every 4-1 life.
Mm.
Yes, and do you know what I mean when I say train track? It's your
Yeah.
train.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you want to take this one, Letitia? I feel like you were all over it.
So yeah, I love this analogy because it resonated with me so much. And I was speaking to like a 4-6 friend of mine, also a reflector, and I was explaining to him that so I'm in the train and I'm on the train track, right? It's a train track. It doesn't have random roads. It's one train track, right? So then sometimes I'm going to stop at a train station, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I cannot get off the train. The people on the train station come into my little compartment and we chill and we have a good time, right? And then sometimes
Daily.
we get to the
And then
next
they
train
leave.
station.
Yeah.
They have to get off or they have to decide if they want to stay or not, because
Yeah.
I cannot leave the train, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's how it feels for me. And it was painful at first, right? Because I wanted to leave the train so bad. I wanted to follow, along with whoever it was.
With the
They're
friends,
kind of,
the
yeah, they're
network.
like, I wanted to go where they were going, but I'm on this train track and, I cannot take as many people with me as I like. And so it does feel very like when I speak about my fixedness, right? It feels very much like like, who are you to be the person on the train? And who are you? But from my own experience, it's like it has been proven to me over and over again that is unfortunately for everybody else the case. And so the quicker that I surrender to my fate, for lack of a better term, the less resistance I will face. And as a result of me facing less resistance, the people in my life will also have an easier time, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
As like going back to just the analogy of a train in general, it's like, do you guys feel like your energy is momentum based? Because I feel like I'm very momentum based. Like it takes a minute to get going, but like once I'm going, I'm going. And if you try to stop me, it's gonna be a derailment. Like it's not easy to slow down. It takes miles to slow down.
Yeah,
that's definitely.
And also, do you also feel like you're the train? I mean, I feel the analogy that Letitia made, that she's the person on the train track, but I feel like I'm both the person on the train track and the train.
Yeah.
And sometimes even the person watching the train on the track when I meditate and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Looking backwards mostly.
Yeah.
100%. I feel
that's
like
the thing about being a train is like you don't know where it's going either. It's like you didn't build the track. The track is there.
That's
true. It's like, where the fuck? Like I'm just going.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like usually whenever I've heard people use an analogy for the manifester, like in human design, I've usually heard them refer to the manifester as the train. It's like, we're just going. You want to get on, get on. You don't want to get on, get off. So it's just like,
Yeah.
I've heard like Ross talk about that. And I thought it was really funny because I feel like, especially with the 4-1 profile, it's very interesting. I'm personally, I think, you know, maybe obviously let me know if this has been your experience as well. But for me, I'm highly psychic. And so I'll get visions of what's going to happen to me like 10 years down the 10 years down the road, and sometimes it'll be like 5 years down the road. I don't know when it's going to be, but I know it's going to happen. So I'm curious if any of you have gotten like maybe insights or some sort of like clue that something's going to happen, because I feel like I know where my life is going. I've always known why I was here, but like it's getting to the different checkpoints that's like the mystery.
Yeah. I've only had one incredibly profound experience with, like, I guess you could call it precognition or whatever. But from the moment that I was like conscious as a child, I knew that my mom was going to die,
Oh,
and
wow.
she did.
Oh, wow.
And so I have other moments, I guess, that I feel like I was able to predict, but it was never as clear as that knowing. And so it scared it scared me so much, because obviously I was only 18 when it happened, so I thought that I had made it happen.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
I was like, I
Oh,
thought
okay.
this into being, like, oh my gosh. But I do have a sense of direction, I think.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't know where I'm going, but I know that I'm going, if that makes sense. Like you said, the in between places. Sometimes when I maybe meet somebody, I can sense that they're gonna have a very profound
Yes.
impact on my life, and so that is like a little bit of a signpost for me, or like a little bit of a nudge, right? But it's nothing as profound as, or as intense as, being a child of like 6 years old and making a promise that you never, like, when my mom dies, I'm not going to speak, that was crazy.
Yeah, sounds intense.
Yeah.
Talking about having an idea of premonition of what would happen, I had lucid dreams pretty much all my life. When I was a kid, I thought that that's how people dream. They can control their dream, wake up in the dream and control it. And I literally,
Nice.
like a innocent kid. My motivation is innocent. Like an innocent kid, I
Same.
went to my mom and
Same.
told her, yeah. And I told her, when you wake up in the dream and you change things, and mom was like, what? And I have dreams that can be considered sort of like happening in real life later on, but I don't know if I made it up or if I didn't, because I've been lucid dreaming constantly.
Interesting. I'd be very curious to look at your dream rave if you have.
Yeah, I
access
have
to
the
that.
2010, so somebody said that that's the awaken.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only
that's
channel I
interesting.
have in the dream rave.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Wow, cool. The Dream Rave. Haven't heard that in a little while. You have the lecture series on that? It was so intense. It was so intense. Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to a part of it and it was just too much for me. I listened to it on an eclipse and I just like lost my mind. I was like, I have to table this.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I went through it. I loved it. It was good. I get it now. I have the channel of abstraction and a gate
Nice.
16 and a gate 16. So repetition was my friend, to clear up the
Awesome.
confusion. But next question. So can you guys share an experience in your life where the world sort of did break you down, and you did that infamous much for the 4-1 fixed juxtaposition profile was just taken off the track, essentially? So maybe you have an experience, maybe you don't, but whatever you do, try to share. I'm dying to know.
Just one.
I know, right? That's a great, yeah.
Brandon,
Yeah,
I'm curious. I'm curious.
all right. When I was 9 years old, my mother passed away.
I'm sorry to
She
hear
was
that.
caught previous 2 months before. She was caught with 2 ounces of cocaine in her trunk.
Wow.
And my dad and my mom were divorced at the time. And we lived in Buffalo, New York, and she lived down in Tampa. 2 months before she got caught, and she was going to go to jail unless she ratted on her dealers. And her husband at the time, they had an argument. And it was right before Valentine's Day. And then on Valentine's Day, he walked out on her, and she was at home alone. And then they found her in the car in the garage, passed out from carbon monoxide poisoning. That kind of altered a lot for me. And then at the time, my dad he lost his mind because he always thought she was going to come back to him.
Yeah.
And he lost his mind. He got into booze, drinking. He got a DUI up in Buffalo, and then he said he was going to go to jail unless he left the state. And this was back in the 90s, like early 90s. So we packed up and we moved to New Orleans. We were homeless for a little bit, sleeping on people's couches. And then it got a little worse after that, because then when he got a house and he was working as a bouncer at this bar, it's a notorious biker bar in the French Quarter, and he would come home often drunk and really just be a violent drunk to me and my brother. And that was pretty rough, and it took a while to get over that. And then in my 20s, he passed away when I was 24 from a drug overdose, and that was really hard too. So that really derailed me. And then my son passed away last year of cancer,
Oh my God.
March 20th. And that was really tough. I'm in his room right now, by the way. This is his room. This is his hat.
Oh.
And
What was his name?
his name was Aiden. Aiden Lee. He had the same middle name as me. And all of those things were really derailing, They shook you. They changed the way you seen things. They changed the way I seen things. And that's another reason why I'm focusing on my music. That's why I'm focusing on my music. I know that my whole life has come down to what I love to do, and I need to do it and get my voice out there. So that's why I do music, and that's why I'm just focusing on that now. But yeah, those things, they really took a bite out of my ass. I'll say that.
Yeah. Art is very healing. Music and art is just.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
what it's there
I
for.
couldn't. I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have music. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's just not. I'm not the same. I've never been the same.
That
For
makes
sure.
sense. That nobody would be the same.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you think these traumatizing experiences, I have my own share of problems with addiction in my family and stuff. Do you think they derail us or they put us on the track? Because I feel like I've never been addicted because my family had the issues with addiction. I feel like I've been set on the track by witnessing them there. They couldn't quite derail it. Like they set the track in place and it's a weird experience to have because you look at your situation and you think, I've been through so much and I'm still on the same track. Like they couldn't derail me.
Mm.
Well, I'm still alive.
Yeah. And you're still doing your music. You're still
Yeah.
keeping on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least trying.
I would say so. I have a history of addiction, but I also had examples of why I should not go down that path, and I chose to. I mean, the first time that I partook in a substance, the thought that stared me in the face was, "This is a bad idea," but I did it anyway. So I'm not sure if, because I'm so like,
Sampling.
and also because the way that I think, when I feel like I should do something, I usually do it. It's difficult for me to kind of like it's difficult for me to say no, right? When life brings me these juicy experiences, because I'm a curious person, and also I think that I know better, right? So so when I got that thought, I was thinking, it's cool. Like, if I get addicted, I'll deal with it, right? But it almost broke me. It almost completely broke me. I lost everything, just before my Saturn return a few years ago. I went from, being perceived as a very stable person to losing my mind, losing my place of, work, like just losing everything basically. But in losing everything, I could rebuild, right?
So,
And so now I feel like, because I was very much close to being completely broken, I had nothing else to lose and nowhere else to go but in a direction that was a little bit more positive. So I'm grateful for the experience.
yeah.
I think that I am who I am today because of my past.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
I guess Danny's in the bathroom, so I will take over this portion for a second. Whoopsie daisy. And Brandon, thank you for being so vulnerable, and
I
that
don't like
has
sharing that either. That's the first
no.
time I shared that with any public. I mean,
Wow.
I don't like posting about it or anything like that. It
In
hurts.
such a public setting, like I'm sending you all the hugs and
It
all
took a lot
the
of courage to talk
yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
we are, eternally grateful that you felt comfortable enough to share that deeply. I'm going to
Mhm.
start crying again. So, okay. So, next question, if it decides to post. Wow, why is this being so slow? That's so weird. Okay, we'll just do this one. What, if anything, have you noticed about others needing to adapt to you more so than you adapting to them? So I think I mentioned this during the slides, but
Yeah.
chew on that.
I've got so few close friends. I could count them on my one hand that I could go to at any time and talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's pretty much why that I have so few. It's because of that, right? Like they're not willing to adapt. You know what I mean? Like most people
Mhm.
aren't willing to adapt to you, so that's why I don't know.
Yeah,
Why?
it's definitely part of the culture. It's part of the culture, right? Like the what is it called? The illusion of choice or optionality. It's almost like, you
Yeah.
know, like a Tinder. It's like you think like, oh, there's so many people out there, but in reality, there's probably like 5 people that you're actually gonna like
Yeah.
meet and fall in love with and have a relationship with. So I think it's a lot easier for people to kind of like leave rather than deal with the
Yeah.
difficult things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys struggle with feeling alone?
Oh, for sure.
No, I like
I
it.
mean,
I mean, I like it now too, but I feel like sometimes I'm in a room and like there are so many people, but I feel like nobody understands me.
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's like not
Well, and
super common, but yeah.
I find that too. I mean, being a woman and it's like being in a relationship and being so fixed. It's like usually the woman is the receptive one, the adaptive
Yeah.
one, and the man is the
Right.
fixed one. And I think that presents a lot of challenges in relationships for women with this profile in particular.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
being a projector, it's like that's kind of my thing is adapting. It's like I take in other people's energies and then I like blast it back out and then it transmutes me and I transmute them. So it's like it's this weird trying to find that balance. It's like I have a hard time finding where that line is a lot being a projector because it's like I know there are things that are fixed about me, but it's like I don't know. I'm still discovering what exactly those lines are.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I
Sorry,
mean,
Daria,
I'm
I feel
eight.
like you've been trying to say something for a long
Yeah.
time.
I was just trying to say about relationships. I'm in an 18-year-old relationship with my husband, and he's
Wow.
a
Wow.
manifester.
So
So
Nice.
he has to adapt to me, which is really hard for him. I see it. I see it constantly when he has to support me, when he has to support my projects. I see it constantly that he has to adapt to me. And I also have two manifested channels. I have the same manifested channel he does, like it's a companionship. And then I have the
Nice.
3420 specific for the man MG. And
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, I, I can be a lot. I can be very loud. And he has to kind of fit in that. And with him, I guess is the most obvious, but others, like you said, they if they don't adapt, they just leave, and it doesn't matter if it's family or if it's friends. If they don't
yeah.
adapt to my way, they just go literally. I'm not joking. Oh, leave her, she's crazy. I like literally that's what's being said. Oh, don't mind, don't try to change her mind. She's crazy. Leave her like that, and they just leave.
Don't worry, you're not alone in that.
I
I feel
know.
like we can all relate to a certain extent, and I feel like I can relate somewhat to your relationship, but also somewhat to Danica's experience, just because I feel like my partner is a generator, and I feel like because I'm a manifester, I have this like really intense sort of like impact. And I feel really bad sometimes because he's so wonderful and like, you know, always is trying to adapt to me. And I oftentimes don't want to be the one who's so fixed or so like demanding or so needy in a sense.
Yeah.
But then because for that reason, I end up taking the responsibility of our change to be, you know, I take that responsibility very seriously because it's like, okay, well, if I have the responsibility to be on the specific track and you have to adapt to me, I'm gonna make sure that our lives are better. Or like I'm gonna make sure that I'm putting us in the right track, you know, making us happier or whatever, right? So it's almost like, oh, okay, it's like a bargain almost, even though that's not necessarily kind of how I've looked at it before, but just like because you're doing this for me, I'm happy to do this other thing for you. That's like an unspoken thing.
Yeah, it's finding that balance.
Yeah, totally.
So I made a decision to remain single for now because I noticed in all the relationships that I've had, there's the following happens, right? So I guess that my reflectiveness comes into play a little bit as well, but initially it is this like we fit really well, and I'm like, wow, this is so amazing, and I'm so in love and I'm so passionate, blah blah blah, right? But then I go into this weird state where I mirror right? And then I get confused about what I want and what my partner wants, right? And it becomes really confusing, and I go into transference, and then all of a sudden it's all about desire and wanting things, and then I have an agenda in the relationship, right? But that agenda is usually a reflection of them, right? And then I pretend and I pretend and I pretend for a very long time that I want what this person wants, right?
Hmm.
And this is specifically for like actual like boyfriend girlfriend things, right? And then it gets to a point where I cannot pretend anymore, right? And then I feel like I am almost like reflecting the parts of themselves that they are unconscious to comes up in the relationship and makes itself known, and I become almost like a conduit for that, right? And then it all falls apart. But the thing is, because I don't know when to let go, I don't know when enough is enough, I don't know how to let go of things that no longer serve me, I am never really the one, romantic setting that ends things. Like I will hold on by the skin of my teeth, and I'm hurt by that. Like it's like I get into a state of like wear and tear, and so for that reason, I am single because I do not feel like I can handle anything like that anytime soon.
Makes sense.
That sounds to me like duality cross. I don't know if you know your geometry, but that sounds to me like a lot like duality when you get so consumed by relationships, and every relationship that comes up feels like a soulmate. And
Yeah. I have many of those.
All right, folks, you made it to the last question. Whee!
Wow.
All right. So we have you figured out that you are not happy until you have it all figured out? And have you made peace with this, or is this something you struggle with?
This reminds me of a Dune quote that I think about a lot. It is, "The mystery of life is not a problem to solve, but a reality to experience." And it's something that I have to remind myself of a lot, because it's like the problem solver, the strategist wants to figure it all out. But how the fuck are you? Who's got it figured out? Like, not me. Like, and the hubris
the
to
ones
think
who
that I'm
state
going to
it
figure it out.
is lying.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like especially with an open head and ajna, like there's always, all of these ideas of like, oh, I have to figure this out and that out and this out and that out. And it's like, I also have 61, 63, and 64. So all the gates from the head center. Yeah. So it's like, why, how, and how, like all of the questions. And it's like, I finally have gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what? Not all questions are worth answering, and that's okay. But it's taken years, so totally relate to what you're saying, Danica.
So I noticed something very recently, right? So I have made it a point to practice letting go, right? Because I obviously everyone wants their plans to work out, but
Yeah,
that's just not always gonna happen. So I've been practicing, letting go, letting go, letting go. But I noticed that the people in my life perceive me letting go as giving up. So I get this like panicked reaction to me just kind of letting things be and seeing what happens and not being so obsessed with finding answers and finding solutions. Yeah, that's just something that I noticed, that people perceive it as me giving up.
Another thing that comes in my mind is a quote: education is what you're left with after you forget everything you've learned. And I think for me that
Wow.
played a big role, because we tend to learn a lot. We tend to dive deep into stuff. When I'm absorbed into something, I'm fully absorbed into it. And realizing that I have to put it down in order to truly understand it, it has been very big for me, because otherwise you can always go deeper.
Totally.
It's tough on
Totally. That
relationships.
one line. Sorry? What was that, Brandon?
So it can get tough on relationships too.
Totally.
Yes.
All right, friends, that is the end of the Inquisition. I mean, the discussion. So now we are going to start at the party section of the party episode. I hope you are ready for some hilarity to ensue. Have your phones ready. We are going to play a game that you are guessing some stats. That's going to be your warm-up game. So let me find it. Yeah. And when we get there, you'll get a new code. So I will point it out to you.
Oh my gosh, I play this one all the time.
Yay!
It's so good. Love
So
it.
here's the code.
A reminder to all agents, interoffice romances are permitted
JIRW.
but must be reported. Granted, we are well aware of them. We
Oh,
just
and
wanted
this
to say
time
it.
our manifester is the VIP.
I'm just so excited. I love this game so much.
Yeah, it will be pretty fun to see how this goes down. So we're doing one round of this, not a full game. This is just your warm up.
Cool.
Hey, Brian, did you get those
Then
requisition forms
we
that put on your
are
desk? Yeah,
just
everything's in
missing
process.
our
Don't
reflector
I'll
friend.
let the agents know.
Check the chat,
Other
Moana.
Agent Harris?
Oh.
Sorry, who? Agent Harris, you know, works in the Caribbean.
Oh,
sector.
yes,
There's
absolutely.
talking about
Please do. So, one second while I
They're probably transcribed.
properly bid you adieu. So, Letitia, thank you so much for staying awake as a non-sacral for as long as
It's
you have.
4 in the morning.
Please go to bed, Letitia, before you leave. If you could throw in where people can find you, if they want to get in touch with you and all the things. And yes, please have a wonderful sleep. It was an absolute honor to have you here and share your energy with us when you should be sleeping.
Thank you.
I just felt it leave my body. I was like, I'm not going to make it. But thank you so much
Same.
for having me. If anybody's interested in connecting with me, you can find me on Instagram at That Unknown Poet, and also on Facebook, Letitia Smith. But Instagram is probably the quickest and fastest way to get hold of me. Thank you so much. It was great meeting all of you, and I had the best time ever.
Same.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's try this again. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, and let's help my friend out here. Okie dokie. So, thank you for pointing out who told me to check the chat when I wasn't checking.
That was me.
Yeah, thank you for being my eyes there. I was like,
You're
what do you
welcome.
mean?
Okay.
You're busy.
Check.
You're doing stuff.
Right. So, righto, Layla, that is your
Everybody's
cue,
in?
and that's for me to leave. So you got the.
Cool.
Maybe you should go see our doctor.
Hello! You know, most guidance counselors don't tell you how exciting being in a government agency that spies on people can be. So we decided to make a game to show you how much fun we have watching your every move. We call it Espionage. Time to play. First up. Ooh. Typey, typey. What percentage of people have worn bathing suits under their clothes because they were out of underwear? Try to guess the correct percentage as close as you can. The closer your guess is to the correct percentage, the more points you earn.
You got it?
We have an answer.
Good job.
24%. Everyone else, do you think the correct answer is higher or lower?
Believe it.
Just one person says lower. And the correct answer is 23%.
Ooh, so good. Good job.
Wow, 1% off. That's worth a lot of points.
But that can't be like.
That's
thing, is it?
amazing.
So
Is that a
Okay.
thing?
pick lower. Here's some points.
I know. I feel like some of them are not super accurate, but that was an amazing
Next.
guess.
How did they know? How would they know?
All right.
I know,
Jessica,
right?
What do you have for this?
Brandon, you're up.
What percentage of women have more pairs of dress shoes than close friends? 65%. Everyone else, higher or lower?
Believe it. Ooh.
Everyone says higher except for one of you. Okay, right answer is 38%.
What?
Of course, for someone, closet space.
I think it
would
was
be a limiting factor.
stereotypical of me to put 65%.
Dude, I'm shocked all the time. Like, honestly, I'm
right.
shocked at these answers all
Well
the time.
done.
Sometimes
You
they
get
feel
points.
like arbitrary to me.
Next up,
Believe it.
we've collected data about everything, even this. What percentage of people have taken piano lessons?
That's such a better question.
Yeah,
I know,
that's a
right?
good one.
That's like quantifiable.
20%. Everyone
Totally.
pick higher or lower.
That sounds right.
Everyone thinks it's higher. Now let's get to the right answer. 44%. And strangely enough,
That's
most
a
of
little
them
much, I
don't
think.
think.
Yeah.
That might-
Like maybe like back in the day, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Today, I don't think
See,
so,
we got it
but
right.
This is
Or
definitely
like
older.
guitar
for sure.
lessons would be around 40%. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, who's up next? All right, I have a good one.
You better.
Right?
Oh, goodness.
What percentage of men have their hair cut at establishments that display barber's poles?
The fuck would you know that?
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm just guessing, honestly.
55%. Okay, higher or lower?
Believe it.
Just
Believe
one
it.
of you is saying higher. And Surveil says
Yeah, I think it's higher, but oh my god, that's insane.
In manga, it's all of them.
Super
That's
cuts.
how it
Oh
goes.
wow.
you don't
It's always super cuts. You guys know
Yeah,
get a
right?
super cut. Let's just get there and get it done.
Right.
Ah.
Good old fashioned barber,
Let's see where
steam,
things
and a
stand
shave.
in round one.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Woo, good
Not
job.
bad. Things are a little
Thanks.
different in round two. I'll explain as we go.
It's pretty
All
random.
right, that was
Yeah.
your warm up. How are you feeling?
Feel
Great.
that?
Good. Okay.
Magical. Okay, so now this next game is actually going to require you to answer some very odd questions. So there's going to be a thing that you type in your answers. Please don't hold back. The weirder, the stranger your answers, the better the game is. That's all I'm going to say. The rest will happen as the game unfolds. But last week, I can't remember. I think it was our generator. She was laughing so hard. She's like, "This is the best day of my life," because of again the answers that people were unabashedly sharing. So yes, please don't be shy. Be as ridiculous as your heart's desiring.
Yes.
I love Quiplash. Oh my god.
Yeah,
So happy. I love this game.
enjoy.
E, A. All right.
I'm free.
Hey there, Schmitty's the name, Quiplash is the game. All right, you guys, hold on to your butts and also your phones, because here we go. This is round one. You'll get 2 prompts on your device. Just answer them however you want. Your responses, or quips, will be pitted against someone else's, and everyone will vote on their favorite. You get points based on the percentage of people who like your answer, and a bonus if you get more votes than your opponent. Go!
This is literally what we do on Christmas.
I don't want to say this.
Let's start this show. The first prompt is... Okay, voting time. Pick your favorite.
It would be weird.
It would be weird. It would be weird,
it would be
okay?
weird.
It would be fucking weird,
I-
all right?
It's funny. I was gonna say that, but then I was like, no.
I know, and I was like, I don't want to say this.
That's so funny.
Vote on your devices.
Nice.
Next up. Time to vote.
Oh my god. I want to know who did this one. I'm excited to see.
Good.
Nice.
Stupid.
Okay, next one. It's voting time.
Literally, I thought of another one later. I thought of like if it was attached to another person. And I was like, oh shit.
The
Too
end of
late.
round one. Let's take a look at the scores.
Woo! Good job.
Time for round two.
I don't know if
Everything
that's-
is worth 2 times.
I
as
would
much
say
as
that's
that
great,
silly
but
round one.
thank you.
Watch these
Okay,
answers
here
get
we
more
go.
unhinged by the round.
I got food.
Okay, everyone, vote for your favorite.
Oh wow.
I mean, they're not going to do that. So
Yeah.
Well, some pedophiles are on stamps, you know.
you know what?
Oh shit.
But it would be, this is not a commemorative like for them though, you know.
Yeah, no, they're not going to focus on it.
They're not going to focus on that.
It's not going to be their million. No, I get it.
Like, oh,
Let's see
okay.
here. Oh, that'd be cool. I don't know. I didn't pick anything.
I like
I was
that one.
thinking-
Dropping gems. It's a good one.
I was thinking about that and how cool it would be if they were doing that.
That is cool.
Next is vote on your devices.
Oh my god. Like I said, I feel like the answers are just going to get more unhinged by the round.
Well, it's like, you know, when you put the knife in it,
Yeah.
and you jiggle it around, you know, like, it works.
No, I like. Yeah, that's how I like.
But when you roll it, also.
Yeah.
And next, it's voting time.
Those sound effects.
Round 2 is no more. Let's see the damage.
Yay.
This is round 3, the last lash. Points are tripled,
Okay.
and
Triple.
everyone gets the same one single prompt this time.
Damn.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
The last lash prompt is
Hmm.
okay, soak it in. Okay, in round 3, you can award 3 votes. You can all do one answer or spread them out.
I like this one. Everything was more fun. I couldn't put the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was
How's it
really
going,
good. I was
Brandon?
like, yeah.
I was like, ah, he got it. He nailed
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
That's the end. Let's see the final scoreboard.
I don't know if I'm
Congrats.
proud of this. I don't know if I can say that my answers make me proud.
That was the
but
winner.
That was
Tell
the
her what
winner.
you won.
You know, real good go-to.
Wow, you were right about the unhingedness as it goes on.
That's the fun thing about it.
Quiplash is definitely one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, that's
Same.
pretty fun.
Right? It's one
Yeah.
of the best ones. So we're going to go from being competitors to being team members.
I like
So this is going to be great if you talk. The more you talk, the more successful you're going to be. So how
Okay.
this
Cool.
works is there is a set of instructions to defuse the bomb. All of you have different pages. So you have to call out loud who has what page and make sure to read all the pages. Last week, our 4-6s were very trigger happy and were not reading all the instructions before trying to defuse the bombs, and they kept blowing up.
Okay.
And some of you will have the wire cutters and it flips.
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind. I'm like trying to give you as much help as possible to see my 4-1 succeed. And
Thank
the
you.
last the last two tips. If you succeed enough with diffusing bombs, then you get into a different type of puzzle where you are arranging files in a filing cabinet according to alphabetical order. But you have to watch if they're talking about the first name or the last name.
Okay.
Okay.
And
First
the-
name or last name?
Yeah, and the last, and I think this is the hardest puzzle that is, if you get to this, is you'll get something that looks like a calculator, and these are like number riddles. It'll be like, the first number is like 2 times higher than the number, and I can't do those. I
Okay.
need people who are math people to help me with those ones, so hopefully one of you are really good at those puzzles.
Yeah, that's not me. I'll tell you. It's not my
We'll figure it
department.
out. We'll figure it out.
So, with that, are we ready to not blow up?
I'm more of a creative person, so this kind of scares me.
It'll be great. So this is your room code. All right, let's rock and roll. Okay,
All right.
so we'll give you a couple of tries to see how far you can get.
Okay.
Cool.
And press ready when you're ready.
All right, here we go.
It's 5:20 for me too. God. I hope I can do
Sorry.
this.
Full of bombs. Just keep
Oh
going
my
until you
gosh.
explode. Have fun.
Okay,
have
so
page
I
one.
page. Okay, you go ahead.
Cut all odd wires if the bomb was made before 1985.
I'm
It
the
was
wire
made in-
cutter. Tell me.
Who's cutting the odd
It was
wires?
made in 1981.
1981.
So
Okay.
that's before 1985. So that's the odd wires. So cut
Odd
1
wires,
and
cut all.
3.
All odd wires, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
The
Wow.
Oh,
timer.
because we have to go through all of them. Okay, I had page 2. Okay, so we have to go through them.
I see. Okay.
Um,
I see. I
Trigger
see.
happy.
Okay. I didn't get it. Okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
okay.
All right.
It's
let's
okay.
Try. Okay.
All right, I have
So,
page 1.
I-
Do not cut the wire 2, even if page 3 says that you should.
Okay. Check.
Page 2.
Mhm.
Page 3 is supposed to say odd instead of even.
Cut
Okay.
all even numbered wires.
Okay,
So,
except for
then we have
2.
to do
Don't
all-
cut 2.
So 4. I thought we were supposed to cut 4 then.
I don't know. Page 2 changes this rule, so you need to cut odd number wires. Okay.
What? Fuck, I can't do this.
We have-
All right,
it's
let's
okay.
retry. All right, we're trying again. All right, I have page 1. Cut the second wire if it is yellow.
Okay. I have page 2. Cut the third wire if it is black. Okay.
Okay, so we do cut 2. We don't cut 3 then.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Cut the first wire if it is blue.
So
I
we
cut
don't
only
cut-
wire
that's-
2.
So don't cut it. Yeah, just 2.
Oh, thank God.
Yay!
Good job.
Okay.
I have page 1. Do not cut the first wire even if it is white.
I have page 2. Cut the third wire if it's green. It's not. So don't cut.
Okay.
Okay.
I have page 3. Cut all white wires.
So wait, so mine
cut-
says
So cut 3. Right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
think
I
so.
don't know, because
Cut 3?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
so. Yeah. Yay! Good job. Okay.
Right.
Sort by
last
name
name
from
from
A
A to Z. Press below to file. I have Natasha
Okay.
Honor.
I have
O-N-N-E-R?
Eliza Angus with an
I-
A. So I'm gonna start.
I checked
Yeah.
Joshua Eldon.
Okay.
It's also with an
A.
I got
And then
Okay, so
Olaf
yours
Henry.
is first. Yours is first. Mine's is second. What's yours, Brandon?
Olaf Henley.
Henley.
All right.
Okay.
so let's see here. Alden Angus. So Henley is next, and then I'm Honor.
Okay.
With
So
an
Henley
O.
and then Honor. Okay.
So Brandon,
So Brandon,
you go.
you're next. Good job! Yay, we did it.
We did it, guys.
Communication. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Okay.
I have
Page-
page 1.
Okay, go ahead.
Do not cut the first wire, even if other rules say you should.
Okay, so let's not cut the first one. Page 2, cut all yellow wires that are next to green wires, but there's none of those.
Okay. I have page 3. Cut all wires that are not the fourth or the third wire. Okay.
Cut-
So sorry. Cut all wires that are not the fourth and the third. So 1, 3, and 4 stay. 2 and
And
5
not
go.
one, no one. It says
Okay,
don't cut the
so-
first wire, even if the other rules say you should.
Okay,
Exactly. So 2
so
and 5.
2 and 5. Okay.
Okay, well, it says
Whoa, sorry.
Oh.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Was there a fourth page?
yes.
Shit, I'm so
Brandon.
sorry. My bad.
I
Sorry.
know, I just totally forgot.
That was me.
Only Layla. Yeah, that's her. She can
That
cut
was
the,
me.
she can cut the black ones. Um,
Okay.
So there's another
I-
fourth page on.
I have
okay.
page 1.
Okay.
All right.
I have
No, I
page
have
1
page two.
now. If there is a black wire present, cut the second wire.
If there is a green wire present, cut the first wire.
If
There's
there's a
no-
red wire present, cut the third wire.
So then we're
Okay.
going to cut 2 because
And
there's
3.
a 2 and 3. Is that
So if there's
Yeah.
a black wire present,
makes
cut the
sense.
second wire. So 2 and 3.
Right.
Yeah.
2 and 3.
Nice. Woo!
Yay!
Oh,
Cut. Oh, go ahead.
Page 1. Do not cut the blue wires, even if another rule says you should.
okay? So 3 and 5 are out.
Yes. Cut all wires next to wire 3.
So
cut the
that's
first
2 and-
wire.
2 and 4.
2 and 4.
So that's 1, 2, and 4.
Yep, so far.
All right. Here we
Page
go.
3. Is
there
there
a
a page 3?
Yeah, cut the first wire.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1, 2, 4. Just double checking, guys.
Yeah. I know.
Nice. Okay, page 1. Do not cut the second wire even if it's red. Okay.
So
Cut the
no
third
cutting.
wire.
What is it? You said cut the third wire.
Third wire, yeah. Cut the third wire.
Okay.
And then mine says cut white wires only if they are the first wire. Do not cut any other white wires, even if it contradicts other rules. But there's no white wires involved.
Right.
Right.
I have only cut all red wires.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so it's
3. Good job. Okay, sort by last name from A to Z.
I
What is-
have Kellerman.
Okay.
Kellerman with a K.
Ross
I
Gay.
have Moody.
I got Ollie Gina.
Okay,
G.
you're
But-
first.
Yeah. Or no. K.
K
K
was
was up
first.
first.
I should have been
Last
first.
name.
It's all right.
Okay, we're at our 3. Is it 3 is our
Yeah, I think that's the total.
all right.
Okay.
Oh,
Page
boy.
1. Cut wire 3 if it is red. And it is red, so we should cut wire 3.
Okay.
Page 2. Cut all wires. Addition to wire 1. So that's 2.
And wires need to be cut in order from right to left.
Okay,
Okay,
so 3 and then 2?
Yes.
Okay. 3 and then 2. Woo!
We're getting
Sweet.
much better at this.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, at page 1. Do not cut the first wire even if other rules say that you should. Okay.
Not
Page
1.
2.
Page 4 is supposed to say odd, not even.
Okay.
Okay.
Page 4 says cut even wires.
I
Okay,
have
so
page 3, but
odd.
I can't see it anymore. Let me see. Okay. Cut
Uh-oh.
all black wires. We don't have any black wires. So what do I cut?
Okay.
So,
I
cut
wire
odd
3.
wires. Well, it's
So
like
3. But then it says do not cut the first wire even if other rules say that you should. So I think it's
oh,
3.
okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay.
So which
I'm gonna
one?
cut 3.
3.
I'm gonna cut 3.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Do not let intern Danicaxix cut red wires. Do not
Okay.
cut red wires, Dan.
Okay, I
Okay.
won't.
Page 2. Do not let intern Daria cut black wires. Okay.
Page 3. Do not let intern Brandon cut yellow wires.
Okay.
I have cut all wires.
Okay.
Okay, so I have to
it's
cut all
1,
wires.
2, and 4.
So I have to cut all wires because you guys don't
Are
cut
not
wire?
allowed to,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
not allowed to cut.
Okay, so do I just do them all in whatever order?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
let's
guess.
see if that works. Oh, thank God. I was so worried about this one.
Okay, the
All right.
second number is odd, and
Okay,
one more than the first number.
Oh God.
The,
So
the
the
third nu-
Wait, can you say that again?
The second number is odd, and one more than the first number.
so let's
So
start with
3.
doing, even though I have page 4, it says the first number is 2. So we need to put 2 in there for the
So
first
before,
one.
So
No, that's
2
from
and then
page. And so who
the-
has the second
I
number,
have-
Brandon? What does yours say?
the second number is odd, and one more than the first number.
so
3.
3.
so 3, yeah.
No,
okay.
it was 4. Right? No, it's 5.
No, it
No,
was correct.
no, it was
So
right.
the
We just
first-
didn't have
We
didn't
didn't have the
before.
time.
Oh,
We ran out of time.
timer definitely.
That's okay.
That was the hardest one, right?
Yeah, that was
that
100%
that
the
one is
hardest
like a
one.
bitch. So it's
We just-
completely up to you if you want to give it one last go. If you're like, my
All
brain
right.
hurts. All right, okay, try.
Let's do it. One more.
Yeah, we can get this done. I'm sure. Okay.
Okay, cut red wires if the bomb's model ends with a letter. Otherwise, do not cut red wires.
Okay, we're not cutting red wires.
Cut the second wire.
Okay.
Cut the green wires if bomb's model ends with an A number. Otherwise, do not cut green wires.
If it ends with a
Okay.
what number?
No, it doesn't. It ends with a 3.
so-
Doesn't
so
end
just-
with A.
So just 2.
Wait, if it ends with a number? Is that what it says?
Daria.
Yes, with a number.
Sorry,
A number,
with a
yeah.
number.
So cut
it
1
ends
then.
with a
Yes.
number, so cut 1. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Page 1.
one?
If the bomb was made in 2005, treat black wires as red. Yes,
Okay.
it was made.
If page 2, if the bomb was made in 1982, then we don't have to worry about this rule because it's not.
Cool. Page 3, cut all black wires. But we don't cut one because we're considering it red.
Treat
All right,
black as
cut all
red.
red
So
wires.
treat
Yeah,
red.
So,
Yeah.
so it's 3.
So cut all red wires. 1 and
Okay,
3.
so 3. So just 3.
Oh, I thought
Oh.
1 was red because we're treating it as red.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
red. I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. 100%. Good job. Good catch.
Good catch, Brandon.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Page-
guys.
So who has the first page? This is the
Digit.
first digit.
The first digit is 1.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. We both. Oh shit! I didn't know multiple people had one of these.
Oh fuck!
Okay, we have to decide who's actually like gonna press.
I didn't. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
me neither. Didn't think about it. All
I
right,
feel
we tried our
bad.
best,
I'm like,
Moana.
do you want to try again? Because that was like a oopsie, or you're like, I don't know if our brains work anymore.
It's up to
Yeah,
you guys.
I don't know.
I'm
I don't
good.
mind.
I don't know. We got 2 and 2.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
one
okay. I think we're
You're
good.
good? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
we're good.
Well, that was a valiant effort. If I've ever seen it,
Thanks.
it takes. It was funny. Our co-host is like, commenting in the backstage. She's like, they don't have their foundation. Their one is. Their one isn't working because they don't have it set yet.
It's unconscious.
This is funny. And if you ever want to check the flip episode of watching the 1-4s, they were hesitating to do anything because their one
Ooh.
is conscious. And then I don't want to do anything. So it's fun to see the differences. But thank you so much for being a part of this crazy adventure. It's an absolute honor and pleasure to have all these fellow 4-1s. I've never been in a room with just 4-1s before, so this is like, oh my god, this is so nice.
A
So
treat.
I was gonna say, if all of you can let everybody know where they can find you, put it in the chat, because I'm sure there's lots of people that are like, I want to find out more about how I can, find your documentary or find out about what you're doing with Gene Keys, or maybe Brandon can show them how to play some chords on the guitar, whatever people resonated with. So we'll start with Danica and we'll make a little round.
All right. You can find me on YouTube, Comic Book Girl 19, and I'm also Danica XIX on Twitter and Instagram.
I actually follow you already.
Oh,
Nice. I followed you on Instagram too. That's my my go-to.
oh, thanks, guys. Oh, I have to follow you back.
You can find me at Exploit the Vibe on TikTok. Exploit.the.vibe on TikTok. That's where I'm basically posting my music. I've got a bunch of songs on Instagram as well. Same name. And yeah, that's about it.
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Daria Stan, and I also have a group called Human Divine. I'll be launching soon a podcast with the same name with somebody from South Africa. Like Leticia left, but yeah, it seems funny.
Nice. I'm mainly on Instagram. That's like my town square, so I'm mostly active there. My account is galactic.blueprint. And I have a website if anyone's ever interested in seeing what I actually do for a living, I guess. It's galacticblueprint.io. It's full of astrology, human design, and other shamanic work.
Yeah, really cool. Oh, and I'm
what's the
also
web-
on Twitch at Danica XIX. I totally forgot about that.
Nice.
my website is myname.eu. I'm in Europe.
What was the Instagram one? I didn't catch it. It was her. What was it again? For
Which ones?
Layla.
Layla.
I got
Oh.
Danica and Darla.
Oh, nice. Mine is galactic.blueprint.
Okay.
Mostly active on there. And yeah, I'd love to keep in touch with everyone. That would be
Same.
super cool.
I was going to say, every time we do a show, I always encourage my guests is like, please start a group chat Send each other
Woo!
memes.
I love it.
Be profile buddy friends. So you all have my contact. So send me your stuff however you want to do this, whether it's Instagram, DM, or WhatsApp or whatever. I am happy to facilitate a 4-1 group chat. I think it'll be really, really nice. And I was
That'd be
trying to get
awesome.
Galactic
Dot blueprint.
linked. Right. Galactic dot blueprint. And then what was I gonna say? Okay, I'm putting it in here.
Sweet. And I'll
Okay,
follow
is there
everyone back.
perfect? I think the only person who I'm missing is Layla, and she didn't put her link in, which is like no.
Oh, Letitia?
Oh, Letitia, yes.
Letitia,
My brain
yeah.
is going.
No worries. Let me see if she has it in there.
I mean, I was using Facebook to contact her, and I had her stuff
Oh,
somewhere.
I think she had it on her profile. Let me see. I think I might have added her. It's that unknown poet on
Oh
Instagram.
yes,
Yeah.
okay, let's it.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
And she's on Instagram too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I found her link. Yeah, because I'm like, it's just easy if I just get everyone's links up at the same time.
Totally.
Okay, am I missing anyone? So I have Danica, I have Daria's Facebook, I have Layla's Insta. I do not have Brandon. Spell yours out again, and I'm gonna just put the link in.
EXPLOIT, the vibe.
Exploit. Oops, can't spell today.
Exploit the vibe.
Did I find it? I found it. Okay, great. And I'm gonna put her in. Then everyone's links are in. And perfecto. So I will be reaching out to all of you so we can make our little 4-1 party chat thing.
Sure.
So
Cool.
we can keep in
Love
touch.
it.
It'll be wonderful. And this portion I forgot to mention to you because I was so excited to be around 4-1s. The next thing that we do, you are not obligated to stick around. You can leave, do whatever, hang out backstage. We do a transit report. So human design nerdies or people learning about human design, we look at the transit forecasts for this week and we give a heads up to people like what gates and things are active. So I will bid you adieu, but again, you're welcome to stay backstage or you're welcome to leave, whatever you want. So with that, I am going to tag team with Moni again. It was a pleasure. Whoop.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you. So much
Thank
fun.
you guys.
I'm actually gonna watch the transit thing.
Oh yeah, hang out.
Yeah, same.
There you go. I feel like
I
the
don't know
whole
what
Brady
happened.
bunch.
I thought we were done, and then I heard Moana asking the last question. I thought we had bounced out, so that was on me.
Oh yeah, no worries. I love
was
that. That
here.
just felt like the whole Brady bunch just like rearranged itself of just like pop, 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 and now the two
God,
of us
it's
are
the
back in.
strangest thing. That was a full house. It was really good.
Oh yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
You ready
so
for the
awesome.
transits?
Let's do the transits. It's the weather report.
Let's do it.
Yep. So I forgot, what transits did we move into this week?
Hold on, I'm not ready. I'm like, where did I put your overlord does not have her shit together. I'm just like, where did I put the
Come on,
slides,
4-1,
guys?
you're a train track.
Yeah, I'm like, this is usually not how it goes, but I think I closed the tab out.
Oh gosh.
Derp, derp.
I think you're just so excited with all your 4-1s.
I
Like,
know,
you're in the
just like-
sandbox with all your friends. You're like, oh wait, I have to do stuff.
Oh no. Okay, I'm pulling it up now. That's never happened on any episode. I'm usually completely on it.
You didn't have your foundation set.
Just foundation where? Bloop bloop bloop. Okay, hold on. I am getting this ready. Da 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 da. It's happening. Oh, wrong slide. But we're almost there. Okay, there we go. I got the transit one set up. Do 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 do. Am I sharing stuff? No, I'm not sharing stuff yet. I should share it this way. Wow, I'm really not
You're
functioning
perfect,
properly.
Moana. You're perfect. You're always perfect. At all times.
You're so nice.
It's
Okay,
so true.
there we go. There you go. You're set up.
Awesome. We are back. So the transits The 33 and the 19, we're moving into the cross of the four ways, huh? Look
Yeah,
at
that's
that.
exciting. And the four ways is the last one before it goes into the Sphinx, correct?
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
well, yeah, before it goes back to the Sphinx, that's correct.
Yeah, around the wheel. We'll look when on the
Yep.
next chart. We'll see the wheel and we can explain
Means
that
we're
all
at the
better.
end of we're going into
Duality?
Yep, we're moving into the end of civilization, moving into duality. Yep.
Yeah, because so for anyone listening to this and it's like, what are they two talking about? So when we're looking at the mandala wheel, it's actually divided into 4 parts. So it starts off with the spring equinox. No, it starts. I'm sorry. It starts off 3 weeks after New Year's to start off into the quarter of initiation. Then it goes into civilization, then duality, and then transition. What's the last one?
Yep. Each quarter of the wheel breaks the wheel up into 4.
Yeah, so at the end of between those shiftings, then the last one before going into the next quarter is the cross of the 4 ways, which is what we're going to be on this week.
Yep.
Ooh, how exciting. So for this week, the Earth is in gate 19. Go back, Moana. The Earth is in gate 19, and the Sun is in gate 33. The Earth being in the energy of approach and wanting, and the Sun being in retreat and privacy. And I thought this was a really interesting polarity because we're talking about approach and retreat. And that's a really interesting complete mirror, like
It
very
really is.
straightforward.
It really is. This is the way of moving back and forth.
Yeah.
And think about coming off of the civilization into duality. That's what we would be doing. The privacy doesn't stay retreated, and the approach is simply an adrenalized energy to want to stay needy and keep giving resources.
And it's interesting too, because the 19 is in the root center, so that's starting something new. And then the Sun is in 33, which is in the throat, which is the end of that collective expression, right?
This says that ultimately part of the story we're supposed to tell with what 33's voice is. It says, I remember, and it's a manifesting voice because I mean, all the gates of the throat are. And this one is, I remember basically what 19 is doing as a way. One of the ways is to approach in a tribal way that fulfills a need. Yep.
That's really neat. It's like a beginning and endings kind of thing, which is also really cool since it's the 4 ways before we're going into the next quarter. Like, oh, that's delightful little patterns for my little
It
projector brain.
becomes basically retreat becomes the way of the upcoming quarter. And duality is very much a private matter. All the gates of the spleen would technically retreat and be private because that's what's coming up. So duality is very much a retreated time. The way of duality is to discuss what you remember in your retreat, basically. And the retreat is just basically getting out of too much noise so that you can remember.
That's really
So-
interesting. Yeah, it's felt
Yeah.
very, very busy in the recent like transits that we've been doing for several weeks. So this week the Sun is in gate 33, this energy of retreat and privacy. It is active withdrawal and the transformation of a weak position into strength. It's a throat gate. It's part of collective energy, right? So it's part of sharing. And in the specific circuit is the sensing or the abstract circuitry, right? And that goes on the solar plexus side. It connects to gate 13, which is the listener, and the channel is the 3313, which is the channel of the prodigal. So gate 33 is a need for privacy joined by the collective's voice of I remember. When the time is right, you will be asked to share your wisdom, which then becomes part of the greater community and humanity's evolving consciousness.
Share the approach, basically, but sharing the approach, absolutely. And 19?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say about that.
No, that's cool. Yeah, you already got into it on the previous one. So the Earth in gate 19, its approach, it's the gate of waiting. That all things are interrelated is apparent through the action of approach. So it's a root gate. It's part of tribal circuitry. And tribal, we think support. And specifically, the subcircuit is the ego circuit. Its partner is gate 49, which is this gate of revolution. And then the 1949 is the channel of synthesis. So gate 19 fuels two essential human mandates: the need for resources and the need for spirit. It's awareness of what resources are needed for everyone to survive, thrive, and achieve their personal and community potential. So it's interesting too that this energy, we're being grounded in this energy that is tribal, right? And that's like interpersonal, and it's starting energy of like, okay, what resources do we need? What spirit do we need? How can we, what do we need for everyone in
What
the
tribal
group of
bonds do we need? What
Yeah.
bonds do we need? Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very interesting as you start to feel the differences between like tribal circuitry compared to collective, compared to the individual.
Yeah, and what resources do we bring? I mean, it is very, very Gate 19 is incredibly aware of what resources it does and doesn't have. It can feel terribly insecure without the right resources. And that would be the way of the 2 quarters earlier. But 19, if you think about it, it says these two gates. By the way, what line are we in? I mean, we're in the middle of this cross. This
I think
at
we're
this
on
point.
2 or 3. I can tell you in one
So
moment.
basically, for the next few days, you're gonna
19.
recognize that you pay attention, to what is it you have for resources, whether the spirit is being filled through the bonding process of others, and just through the bonds you currently have. So the need for resources, the need for spirit, the need to share that, and the need to basically tell about it. What do you remember about your journey it took to get to the place you're at? That's what the prodigal always comes back to say. So when you look at this, it just when you put 19 and 33 together, you come up with exactly that, telling the story of what it was to gather the resources. So this week you can recognize you're going to be saying things. You'll have sudden memories. This will cause memories to come out. It is the gate of I remember, and so it'll be driven by a fuel from the adrenalized root center to approach that memory, basically, and say it out loud and share it. You'll have a fuel to share the memory.
Fascinating.
Hmm.
Always so fascinating. I love to hear like what you come up with. It's always so good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love it. So the incarnation crosses for this week: the right angle cross of the 4 ways, people who retreat to reflect on experience before sharing insights, memories, or principles. So we're in that right now, and then we're going to be shifting into, when we get to our 4 ones, like our today special guests, it'll be the juxtaposition cross of retreat, people who express the need for beauty in life. The aesthetics of retreat begin with enough food to eat and a roof over your head and your own space.
Indeed.
And then finally, it'll shift into the left angle cross of refinement. People who know that it is not enough to have and protect a home. Life is enriched by making it beautiful. Beauty that heals. My grandma's a cross of refinement, and she's like the greenest thumb ever in her garden. It's just
Yeah,
beautiful
those
everywhere.
refinement people, they really shave down the edges and take off all the burrs, and they show up with everything it takes to manicure the area.
Mm.
They're always manicuring the area, that
Oh, yeah.
refinement. Yeah, and everything around. And so on the other side of the 19 and the 33 would be the 24 and what's the other one? 24, 44. So we leave that energy and we move into the next energy that it goes into. It's moving into the Sphinx. So we move
Yeah.
into the 1 and the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the whole story of this cross and this way and the senses that you might feel today, that we call it a forecast because these are sensations and things that will come up over the week. And the movement, since we're moving into the Sphinx, which is all about our direction, our love being put in a direction, this incarnation cross tells us the way. The way to tell is of telling the story with the sensitivity of recognizing that you have enough resources. That's the only way. In fact, you have no story to tell until the resources are there. And then you move into this juxtaposition of actual retreat where the expression is the need for the beauty. And then you move into the left angle where you refine and get the beauty. This is the beauty of moving through the 4 ways. And this is the way of retreat, so that when we finally move into the next gate that it comes into, 33 moves into gate 7. 33 moves into gate 7. So, and 7 will be basically the army. Right? Or does 33 move into 13? No,
So
13.
it'll be 7 and 13. The sun is going to move into is from 33 into 7, and then the earth 19
7.
into 13.
Right.
So-
And then we move back into the Sphinx. So after we go through this refinement, it's time to lead the way. It's time to lead the way. So we are in a refinement. So the refinement is refine the memory so you can lead the way. Because when we move into the Sphinx, it's about the direction. This is a very interesting piece of real estate on the wheel, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
19 shows up as a pressure. You'll just feel it. If you suddenly find yourself trying to fill your refrigerator more than normal, literally, because that is one of the primary resources, food, don't be surprised. And ladies, if you have a husband out there that does it, don't beat him up too much.
Oh, I love
And,
when my man goes shopping and cooks for me. He did that for me today. It was great.
But this is the week to technically buy too much and tell everyone all about why. You just felt like it. It's part of the way.
That's so fun. I think he literally went shopping yesterday when we entered into this energy and bought home a bunch of
We always
goodies.
feel better when we bring all the food into the home. This gives us the ability to stay private, come up with the prodigal message, deliver the prodigal message, because we have these it requires the resources of need and sensitivity through the support of the tribe to bring out what is going to be told by the prodigal that gives us what was finally known of it all. The recounting of the story, the accountant of the details. Can't do it without the resources given by 19. So it's quite a thing to put together.
Really fascinating.
It's fascinating.
And the
Yeah.
idea of the retreat of you've had this whole big experience and now you need to take a pause and breathe and step back before you can go on another adventure, before we can jump into the next quarter, before the Sphinx can tell us where we're going.
The prodigal son didn't return for years.
Mhm.
That was the retreat, essentially gaining the experience.
Mhm.
And in that retreat, you're gaining lots of experience, whether you're alone or you're with others. It's still a retreat. So this is interesting. Do you have the I Ching names of the verbiage that is like that?
I got my
main
book.
You have the main verbiage for what is the hexagram?
For the 33 and the 19?
Yep.
Yeah, so the 33, it
Well-
says retreat.
Yeah.
Even in this
So
one, it still says retreat. And so
awesome.
for this one, July 31st to August 4th, we're going to be in this energy. So we got a few more days. The 33 is retreat. And so the image of this one is heaven over mountain. So it says, the mountain stands firm and still and seems to be joined more with heaven than with earth. The noble one who retreats up the mountain shares this character, staying close to what inspires. He is naturally distanced from what would diminish him. This happens through respect and without hostility, because to hate something is to take the ugliness you perceive into your heart.
I love heaven over mountain. I haven't heard that particular one yet. Yeah.
That's
But
so lovely.
it fits it. It's very yang on top, which is what would be at the top of to tell the story is a sort of yang thing.
Mm-hmm.
And 19?
And so for the 19, right here, for this one, they call it nearing. So approach nearing, interesting. And it's earth over lake. A noble one has the inner reflective depths of the lake contained within the protective, accepting qualities of the earth. She is the one with endless capacity to reflect, interact, and explain, to shelter and nurture people as a parent protects a child. She has the strength and maturity, so naturally she becomes responsible.
If that's not one of the primary resources, your responsibility with everything, I don't know what is. So
Yeah.
that fits right in. Is there I've forgotten the I Ching. Did they do it like we do in the back of the book, where there's the name of the gate, and then right below it is a heading. It's like a subtitle that says the overall characteristic of the gate.
So
and then they
in
go through lines.
another book might do that. Mine has hexagram 19 has the information, then it has a couple questions, then it goes into an oracle description, then it
And
describes
the
the
lines.
image. Yeah, and then it goes into the specific, and then it goes sequence and a pair, and then it goes into the changing lines.
Can you read the first line of
For gate
13
19?
and 19? Both of them.
Sure, I'm on 19, so I'll start with that. So
Yep.
19.1, it says influence nearing. constancy, good fortune. And then there's like a description further. It says, mirroring is felt first of all as an influence, an inkling of connection and presence, a moving spirit that opens you up and draws you into relationship. When such beginnings inspire constancy, this leads to good fortune. When you sense the emergent potential, you can be moved to take on responsibility to foster and guide its growth. That doesn't mean creating rules for their own sake, but only a certain order and coherence so that the influence can be more clearly felt. The greater your inner focus and concentration, the more present and available you can become.
So this sounds like it's characterizing approach. I should get the I Ching book. I would like to get the paper version of the book that says all the old language only, you know.
Yeah, I would love to know which one, because when I've looked up like I Ching books, there's like a million, and I just like stumbled upon this one at like
Yeah.
Half Price Books a few years ago. So I kind of go with that until I find another one.
Yeah, I didn't hear in there the actual cryptic language of the I Ching and the things we were reading specifically. I heard part of it and then some regular updated description of it.
Yeah, this seems a little bit more like pretty and poetic. So I'd be very
Yep.
curious what you have in mind and what else I should purchase to study. So then, do you want me to read 33.1?
Sure, yeah.
Sure. For 33.1, it says, retreating tail, danger. Do not use this to have a direction to go. As you retreat, your tail is the part of you closest to the threat. There's a danger that you could be caught by the tail and pulled back into trouble, into a situation where you can be harmed, and old patterns and roles can swallow you up altogether. You need to get completely clear of these influences and leave them far behind you before you can safely make plans for the future. At present, trying to envisage the new makes you vulnerable to being drawn back into the old. That's interesting. So you don't want to get pulled back into the old nonsense. So make sure that you're like retreat and you pulled your tail away so you can't get sucked into the nonsense before going into the new.
The prodigal is the definition of washing out part of the old, you know, in a way, I would say. So what would you say people could expect this week with 33 in the sun and 19 in the earth? Does anything come to mind?
Comes to mind. So the 19, that tribal adrenaline, right? So seeing where you're looking for the resources, where you're looking for spirit, right? Because that's also like looking out into the spiritual world where you're looking for God and maybe yearning for a connection to the eternal and that which is bigger.
The connection, definitely the connection, and even the marriage bond, ultimately, even if you don't know it's still a wedding of some sort. So looking for that deep tribal connection, not going it alone.
Family.
19 doesn't want to go it alone. So recognize you don't want to go it alone.
Yeah, maybe like reach out to some friends. Like even when I don't know what to say, I'll just send a heart to somebody that that's special to me that I'm thinking of. Even if I'm like, I don't know what else to say, but like I love you, I'm thinking of you. You know, maybe reach out to your tribe.
Yeah, this week is a time to approach in many different ways, including with emojis. I agree.
And that's like a simple way too, because it's also that balance of the retreat, right? So you don't want to be starting into new stuff, but you don't want to maybe lose those connections. So that's why I like just sending a simple heart, because I'm like, I don't want to get anything started or do anything or invite you over or nothing, but I love you and I'm thinking of you. So maybe there's a bit of that, a little balance of the retreat so you can kind of rest before jumping into something new, and also see then maybe where your heart is pulling. Right? Because maybe your heart is going to be pulling towards something that maybe not yet. Maybe you're not ready to jump into it yet, but maybe take notice of what is being called to you. So as we move through it, you have a sense of like, hey, like I'm retreating, but like I also like I love my people and like I care for them, and who am I being called to? You know, without maybe initiating anything.
Well, retreat itself and this privacy basically indicates the exact opposite of it. It's almost as if they had to point it out, because the rest of the time it lives out its opposite. It is a collective gate after all. I've never met a collective gate that wasn't dying to share its stuff. Not one ever. So it wants to share. I guess the privacy is there to remind it that you're not on 100% share mode. You always have to keep retreating, even though the energy is to get out there and share with the other. So if you're going to share anything, and you're going to try and make this new bond and this new connection, just recognize that as it's happening, use your strategy and authority to make sure it's right, and don't dive headlong into the next stupid thing. I
Yeah,
guess.
that's a really good idea of just like the retreat before you share the experience, right? Because sometimes something
Yep.
happens and like that first person you tell, they get like the overflow. Like the first
Yeah.
person you tell after a
They get too
vacation is like, you're
much.
gonna get all the exactly.
They
And
get
then
too
as
much.
you kind of
Right.
narrowed in, so maybe before you're just like blah, in that desire for connection,
You
maybe like
retreat
take that
beforehand.
pause retreat. So then you're like, what do I actually want to say so I don't like say something stupid?
Well, think about what the retreat will do and that privacy in waiting before you start issuing the accounting nature and the tracking nature. I remember is basically like a bookkeeper. It's keeping track of all the things. It's mom who makes sure all the family photos get into all the photo albums. That's not
Mhm.
easy. And you can
Mhm.
easily lose track of all that, but someone's got to do it. That's what it's doing. And it just makes me realize that this retreat of leaving the thing before you get back into it would be a wisdom maker as it relates to not expending all your resources. If you just go headlong in, like you were saying, the first person you meet, you tell them everything.
Yeah.
You just spent everything on it, on that person. It's all out now.
Mm.
And same thing with other even more just practical mundane things. If you sort of pull back into privacy, how you share and what you choose to remember will refine itself as the
Mm.
cross it's coming into suggests. So instead of giving everyone everything so that the party can go off good, you'll make sure you save some for yourself.
This is great.
Yeah,
I love like
I
talking
like
this
it.
through with you. It's so much
Yeah.
fun because it's like I would never figure this out on my own. I would just kind of read and be like, okay, that's interesting. Let
Oh,
me see where I see it.
it,
But getting to actually talk it through with you is like, oh, it's so juicy.
yes, it's so good because talking it through is the only way it even comes out. I wouldn't know to say certain things.
Yeah.
Raw can only say so many words, and then sooner or later you got to start adding to it, right?
Mhm. And, like, fleshing it out, like because you can get, like, a really good base foundation with it, and you're like, "Okay, cool," and then how do I actually process that through and, like, understand it and, like, really develop it? Like, that's why human design is such a long process. It's just, like, you're resorting through all the energies of the world, you know?
Right. My God. Yeah. Well, I just hope we wake up more people. I'd love to get into South Africa. Sounds like we've got a new mission to do to get into,
I kind
right?
of feel like it's just like anywhere it's like I hear that it's just like just give it time. Like I remember when I first got into human design, there's barely anything on YouTube and like trying to like sleuth to find information to start studying it, and then it's like blown up. And then even now, maybe there's not a ton of people into it, but there's definitely like a bit more that somebody like you meet somebody at a party and like, oh, I've heard of that, and they might know their like basic design or something, like
It is happening.
it's
Yeah.
getting there in
I,
little
I
bits.
I just felt for her so deeply at that moment because
Yeah.
I recognized, hey, that's where I started back in 2008,
Hmm.
8 and 9. Yeah, that's where I started
Yeah.
essentially.
I think a
So I
lot of people are like the first person in their group that's like into it.
Yeah, what a story. Oh my God. So there's our forecast for the week. So that means we're moving into the Sphinx next week.
Ooh, how
Yep.
exciting. It's always
Mhm.
like a nice, like new, fresh start.
Yep. Yep. It's each one of these quarters ends up being a new fresh start, and we need them. And I read the quarters when I'm reading the gates into the people. I just don't say that that's what I'm doing, but read, read, read. Oh, so much reading. Maybe I'll finally get tired of it one day. I don't know. I still don't.
I mean, even if I might drift out of it for like a minute where I'm not as like deep dive nerd about it, because I got gate 15, not 5. So
Yep.
I'll kind of go deep into it for a little and then I kind of drift away and then I always like pop back and there's always something that'll pull me back into it. So I don't know, like there's just so much like depth and beauty of information and so many different topics that you can like take this. I don't know. I feel like human design is just like a never ending gift.
It's funny, given that the fact that projected channels are what they are, most of us, therefore, not all of us, but most of us have a little projector inside of us.
Mhm.
You have it twice. You have a projected channel and you're a projector,
And that's
you know.
it.
And so, but in that projectorness, it's just we start recognizing that as soon as somebody wants something, suddenly I love human design all over again. You know,
I know.
as soon as they want something, especially if I can, when I
What, me?
they let me give
You
it.
want me to
Yeah,
help
yeah.
you? Want me to tell you things? Okay.
Like, you're talking
Twist
to
my
me? I'm being
arm.
recognized?
Yeah,
I'm being
yeah.
recognized? Watch me respond. You ready?
Like little kids. Well, there's no difference between attention and love.
I quite concur. Yeah, I quite concur. I say these things are one and the same, or they can be.
Mhm.
So I feel pretty good
I feel
on the
great.
week.
I love it. I love talking about it with you. I love always like fleshing it out. Makes me so happy. And thank you for another
What
wonderful
is
transit
this?
weather.
What is this on your name where it's got the greater than symbol and the
Oh, it's
three?
a
Is that
heart.
like a heart on its side?
It's a heart on
Okay,
its side.
gotcha. All right.
Yeah, I'm a vessel of love. I share my little Moni
Yeah,
magic.
you and me both.
Yay. I always love meeting vessels of love.
Mm, me too. It gets me
Yeah.
everywhere. No one's ever willing to be mad at me for too long, I notice, and that's always good.
Oh yeah, I'm Mr. 2-4.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
little different in 3-5 land, but we'll see.
Well, there's our weather forecast for the
Yeah.
day. Anyone who's got any suggestions about what they want to hear as the weather forecast, what they would like us to look at and so forth, we can always go a little bit deeper. We're just on the surface here, so, but thanks
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's our 4-1 puppet master?
Yeah, where is she?
Overlord.
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 I can't believe I really need a shirt.
Yeah, the
Well, we-
Overlord shirt.
Right, start our merch line. Well, this is it. We're moving into transpersonal.
That's it, man.
What is it,
That's a
5
big
left?
deal.
It
There's
was like
5
five,
left.
five,
Yeah,
one,
715.
5, 2, 6, 2, 6, 3. That's
There's 4 left. Oh, that's right. There's 4 left. Because
No.
5 and 7 is 12.
Okay, so it's 714.
Yep.
Okay.
I said 715, didn't I?
You did. That's why it was in my head. So okay,
Yeah,
714 addendum.
714.
Remember, there's
Oh,
way
yeah.
less
Sorry
transpersonal
about that.
profiles
Yeah.
than there are personal ones.
Aren't you
Yeah.
happy?
Oh, we're just like, I feel like, we're going down the hill and we're like, wee!
Yeah,
We're picking up
exactly.
momentum of the finish line. I can see it.
And then you take a nap and don't think about this for a minute.
Oh, man.
God,
But, what were you going to say? Sorry, Danny.
Just what a mammoth project this has become. I mean, I enjoy watching these people
That's so cool.
and each different profile be themselves. It's amazing. It's
I was
absolutely amazing.
telling Moni backstage, I don't think we've ever gone like this deep. Like I was bawling backstage. I'm like, whose idea was it to ask this question?
Danny.
Me.
That's like Danny's. Even when I was coming up with the question, it was like 4-1, like strong, sturdy, like oak, can break, flesh out with Danny.
That's too funny. Who was the one who had train track into that question? Because
That
those
was
weren't
for
words-
an audience question.
Oh yeah, that whole description was really good. And then the South African, the Cape Town girl, the reflector.
The reflector.
Yeah, she was like where she like really expanded upon that analogy of like I'm on a train and you can come in the car and hang out with me, and at a sooner point like you're gonna either
What a
hang out
great
or leave.
analogy. Yeah.
And I don't know.
Oh,
I
she
feel
was
like
such a reflector. Her answers were
Right.
so reflector. I'm like, oh man, I'm seeing it. It's
And I love a good analogy. I was like, you give me a good analogy to like understand energetics, and I'm just like yum 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 yum. So I really
Yeah.
love that. All of them were amazing, and their stories and just how they connected and shared was like super super cool.
right.
We could never speak this knowledge out without the allegory and the analogy. It would be impossible. It
Well,
would just
that's what
be
gives it like meaning. Like that's the entire way that I can understand it is like, okay, give me an analogy, give me a metaphor. And with that, it's like you can give tangibility because it's like it's energetic, so it's invisible, but it doesn't mean it's not tangible. And so giving creating a story, right? What is it? I mean, that's the 33, right? You're expressing the story of this whole journey and making the intangible tangible through the beauty of metaphor and analogy and archetypes. It's just like, oh my God, melt.
Oh my God, it is so good. I can't
Right.
wait.
I
We're
love
getting
nerding
places.
out with you guys. It's like our nerd bubble.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? So we are still keeping this this time frame. We're not going to be changing it. So next week we are going to have the lovely 5-1s joining us, and I believe it is a full house like it was this week. And yeah, we love the audience questions. So if
Yeah.
you're like, following along with all the profiles and you have a question pop into your head, like please put it in the chat like we did today. We will answer. That's the whole point of us doing this live versus like just a podcast style
Right.
recording, right?
Yeah.
And yes, if you're new to the channel and you're intrigued, please give us a follow. Come watch us live, ask questions. We promise we are here to help and share, and that's why we started this channel and that's why we keep showing up. So please show us some love, and
Thing.
we will keep bringing you amazing content that will be life changing if you start living your design,
If
right?
you start living your design, you will change your ways. It'll be a good thing.
Great,
Wonderful.
amazing. Is there
Thank you
anything
for
I'm
another great
forgetting?
show.
Not that I
Next
can
week,
think.
5-1s. Same.
Yep.
time,
Next
same
week,
time.
5-1s, and yeah, we are moving into transpersonal land. But thank you for coming and watching. If you're watching the replay, like, we appreciate all the views and all the things. And please tell your friends and have a wonderful good night. And we bid you adieu.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye bye.